Hello, everybody. Oh, cat hit. Oh, what? Okay.
Fine.
Yeah. Sorry. There you go. Hey, everybody. Sorry. A little mishap there. Welcome to this very special Hobby Titan stream. And Cat, it is time for some Krondspine, which is the thing in front of you.
That's what it's legitimately called. I thought you just made that name up and you were messing with me.
Wait, really?
Yeah,
I've
I don't
been
know.
calling it that all week, I think.
Stop paying attention.
Krondspine Incarnate. This thing is super cool. We are going to paint, each cat and I are going to paint one up. Mm-hmm. We don't know which one exactly or how we're painting them yet. We're going to decide right after this. Because we're going to do two different styles of these, following kind of the same recipe. Kat's going to follow along with my bone recipe.
Yeah.
And then we're going to make one of them a fiery guy, which is kind of the way they show it.
The box art.
The box art. And then we're going to make one an icy guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Are you ready to do this?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay, let's do it. Let's get creative.
Sweet.
Okay, so there he is. Okay, so here he is. Now, this one that I have, I got to tell you guys, this is, if you want a challenge of a model to put together, lots of people are like, oh, I'm really good at assembly. I like assembly. Then this is the model for you, my friends, because this thing was a little bit of a nightmare to put together. I, yesterday, worked at home and painted my daughter's Arcane army, which I'm trying to get ready. And I was like, you know what? I don't need to worry about tomorrow's show because all I have to do to get ready is go in and put together two Krondspine Incarnates. And wow, was I extremely wrong about how long it would take me.
Yeah, I wonder if everything in this box is
a nightmare to put together.
Of a higher difficulty level, I think, to put together. Because even that that fountain I struggled with a little bit. It wasn't difficult. It just, you really need to slow down, take your time, look at the instructions. It's a bunch of different million pieces. Everything is very specific, but a lot of pieces look the same. And so I wonder if everything in this box is like that.
A waking nightmare to put together.
There's benefits to it. But it is different. Yeah. Well, I would say you get more detail out of it.
Oh, sure.
It's just stuff like that. But if you wanted to sub-assembly a lot of this stuff, I think that lends itself to it very well.
Yes.
It's just it's different than any other thing that I've put together, at least from
now. Real quick, Kat, before you cut away from this, I'll show you guys a couple things that I don't normally do real quick. And I'll show you what I'm talking about. What the problem is? It's actually this area right here. Okay, so you can see that there is some point, this is where the weight is, right? And then you have to have this point right here support that weight. Now, all along, as I'm building this thing, it was also tricky and a little problematic. You really have to hunt. If you put this thing together, you have to hunt for the little shapes, if that makes sense. So you clip a piece off the sprue as you're building it up. The head was easy. That was the first thing. And then as you're going along, you're like, okay, I'm adding to this snake. And what ends up happening is you clip a sprue piece off and you look and you go, okay, all right, I see a little triangle indentation. Now let me look on the piece I just built. Oh, there's the triangle, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so you're having to hunt for little hidden shapes. And you can see this thing is very detailed. And then there's also other things, like for example, this piece right here, this swirly magic, and this swirly magic are separate pieces, right? So it was actually kind of crazy. And then there's this random skull right here that I did at the very end. That's also connected with swirly magic.
Yeah. I almost wish I brought it in because the terrain piece of the dead dragon thing or whatever from the same box, I thought was going to be super easy to put together because all I did was take the sprue with me. I didn't take the instructions.
They're right.
And it took me about 3 hours, I say, to put together because each and every single individual piece specifically goes somewhere.
Yeah.
And then it was a thing where the jawbone from the dragon that's on the ground, it's just a circle piece and it's almost like a separate piece itself. It's kind of a pain to sit everything together and glue it all in, and then you're like, all right, don't breathe on it, don't touch it, don't do anything. So yeah, I got it put together, and it's really cool. And it's also 2 separate pieces. I don't know if it's like very.
Oh, I didn't quite notice. It doesn't quite show that on the box.
Yeah,
interesting.
They put it together like on the box, and it almost looks like one big long terrain piece. But the spine piece of it and the upper head piece of it is 2 separate pieces, which I thought was really cool because you can kind of split it up and like, you know, make a story that way, at least when you're putting the board together. But
it's good. It's optionality, right?
So far, everything from the Thondian Stronghold box has been
well
a challenge.
Here's the good news:
together.
Everything else is from an existing kit.
Yeah.
So
I guess the new
means.
terrain pieces, whatever Games Workshop is doing with engineering their stuff. It's cool. You get a lot more detail from it, but definitely not something like a beginner should be left alone with, at least.
Not this guy.
Yeah.
I get this. I pinned.
Yeah. I was gonna ask. Yeah.
I think in about 12 years of hobbying as an adult, I think I've pinned 2 other times that I can remember.
I have pinned 1 other time, and I think I'm gonna have to pin my Mangler squigs together.
Oh, I see. They're like connected, like one, and then there's like a
there's
foot.
Like the goblin that sits on the second one. There's like a little thing that comes off from his side or something, and then that slots into a foot. Yeah. And then some of the chain is connected, but that's not really supporting in any way.
Yeah.
So I'm definitely gonna have to pin those guys together.
I had to pin, and the one I put together for me to paint. I put both these together most of the day today is what I spent doing. And I still have like a cork here. He seems to be okay, but I'm very nervous because of the history him and I had earlier today. So I'm going to leave the cork up during the hobby stream. And when I'm done painting him today, I'm going to take it off overnight and come in and see what happens tomorrow.
Yeah.
So it was a bit of a mess, but you know what? It is an incredible looking model.
You did it, at least. Yeah. I came in a little bit later than I normally do today, but yeah.
Now, we have decided today that Kat and I don't know which one of us is going to paint the fire one and which one of us is going to paint the ice one. Yeah. So I got a red and a blue marker here. Mm-hmm. I'm going to hold them up. Mm-hmm. Kat she's going to have to guess where I'm holding them. So close your eyes, and she's going to pick, and fire, of course, is red,
okay, I'm
and
just gonna reach right around here.
Blue. Okay, she's reaching right around there. Now, but I don't want to like poke your hand with a marker, because then you'll pick that marker. Like if I do that, you'll.
Then I'll purposely pick the other one.
Yeah, we should have thought of a better system.
Yeah, that's fair.
Okay, here we go. So, all right, okay, here are the markers. So just like, okay, all right, you found them?
I found them.
Okay, which one? You got them. You got both? There you go. Okay. Okay, so you're doing ice Krondspine. I'm doing fire Krondspine, which actually means we need to switch these. So yoink comes over here. Yeah. And then here's the ice recipe. Now, to make things easy on Kat, who had apparently horribly an allergy-centric week, a very exciting allergy-centric week. I think we'll
to hear about. It's been a week and a half now of my face just hating me. I think. Yeah.
It's been weird in the Bay Area. Yeah. I was telling Kat as the stream was about to start that a few years ago I was having nose and issues out here, and I've never really had that before. And the doctor was like, well, the weather's been changing back and forth a lot, and that kind of happens in the Bay Area in like April, May. Yeah. And I was like,
I think October, September as well too. Yeah.
I was like, that's not a real thing, and they were like, yes, it is. So. Joke's on me, but it's been like, it'll be like warm one day and then like
freezing cold. Well, freezing cold the next. Yeah. No, it was very hot this morning, so much so that I was sweating, and then I went out like an hour ago. And I'm like, I should have brought a jacket with me. Yeah.
Something's afoot.
All right, so what are we doing here?
So we're gonna follow my basic bone recipe, and the way we're gonna paint this guy today, folks, is we're gonna airbrush my bone recipe all over this thing, and then after that's done, it'll just be like all bone, which is not the look we want. Then we're gonna go in, and then we're gonna do I'm gonna do fire, you're gonna do frosty. Yeah. Fire magic here, frosty magic for you.
Sweet.
Yeah. Okay, so what we're going to start off with is XV88. And you have one too.
Oh,
and there's actually one of every paint and an airbrush.
Wow.
Yeah, it's literally just like show up and hobby along for you today and produce.
I like it. Makes it easy. Yeah.
So
this week's been very busy, and also I've been very sad with overdosing on allergy medications, and not really actually overdosing, just like taking more than I have ever in my life. There was a second where I thought I had a sinus infection. I was very scared I wasn't going to be able to go to my cousin's wedding. No, it turns out my face just hurts because of allergies. So, yeah.
Now you know.
Now I know.
And I'm going to, with this color, I am going to like kind of get underneath, but I'm also okay with underneath not getting like as much coverage.
Okay.
This is our first layer. This is the bone recipe I use on a lot of stuff I do by default. But there are some subtle variations that Kat and I are going to do. So we are both using XV88 to get started, which is what I've just done here. But the next step is going to be a wash, and I'll be using Seraphim Sepia, which is the yellowish kind of wash that GW makes. Yellowish, excuse me.
Like
it
orangey,
is brown.
yellowish, yeah.
It is brown, but it's like a little yellowish, right?
Yeah.
And Kat, meanwhile, will be using Agrax, which is, of course, like a more of a neutral. I mean, if such a thing as a cool brown exists, I guess let's just keep it at neutral.
A cool brown does exist. It would be considered like a gray brown. But no,
I think of that as a
you.
warm gray, though. Is that not a warm gray?
Well, it depends,
like
right?
Skaven Blight?
What's the more predominant color that you're looking at?
I guess so.
Yeah.
I guess I think of like Skaven Blight Dinge, which is like a warm brown. And let us know, folks, what you guys are working on at home as well. Always kind of into hearing that. This week, when we get to fan stuff in a little while, some crazy stuff. Last week was like a slow week for fan stuff. It was like, I don't know what was going on. Not
taxes.
Taxes. Yeah, people were doing their taxes.
It gets you guys.
But this week, out of nowhere, back and forth. Man, I hate having to keep this cork here. But,
yeah.
Okay.
I'm also noticing, like, right off the bat, we have very different airbrush styles as well, too. Mm-hmm. I'm very much like a put down a little bit and then slowly build up from there.
Yeah, I get there a little later. This is on my first like coats, and when I prime, I just like blast. I go blasting here. But yeah, I will do that certainly when we have. Oh, you have the white ink, but we'll use that as well.
Okay.
40 pink hearts. Broken Chef, have fun. I was actually kind of lamenting that there's no airbrush. Citadel pink airbrush, really, which is a little bit of a bummer.
Yeah, they don't. For one of the bigger, I would say, like fantasy color ranges, they don't have a whole lot of like airbrush fantasy paints. So, and by fantasy, I just mean like,
what do you mean by that?
Normally, like a fantasy line is something that has I guess a more extensive range of reds and purples, because a lot of like military colors are greens and blues and browns and grays, and obviously.
Oh, I see. So that's like sci-fi or military or like
normally you can
historical
tell,
like World War II one stuff.
Yeah, like if when AK came out with their 3rd gen paint rack and stuff, that was I think their shot at like doing like a fantasy range, because they came out with a lot more reds and purples and yellows and stuff, and then like just different shades of that. So yeah.
Okay, if we want to get a zoomy in here, I'll show where I'm at. There he is.
Yeah.
Okay, so he's wet right now because I've gone ahead and busted out the next step, which is after XV88. Like I said, we hit him with Seraphim Sepia.
But I will do Agrax.
And Kat's going to be doing Agrax here. Okay, so this has to dry a little bit. It won't take too long. I actually forgot to. While we have this view up, I'm gonna go grab We have a little mini. Oh, the fan makes so much noise now, though.
Yeah. So one thing that I do when I'm waiting for stuff to dry.
Use the airbrush?
Is just, just use the airbrush air. But this is also like another reason why
we should get a new fan.
Yeah, or clean this one, I think. I think honestly that might be a thing.
Or
but
even tighten the screws.
Yeah, I think a new fan would be like $10. Yeah.
What does that sound like? Can you guys hear that fan? Let us know.
I can see it on the audio,
okay.
which I think is really funny.
Okay.
Yeah.
So here we go. We're just gonna do a little drying while Kat does her next step.
Yeah.
Here,
so
we can watch
is
you.
Just all
Let's
over?
watch your step as well.
Yeah.
Yep, it's all over. All right. And this is so you guys notice I start actually with not that dark of a color. Kat was asking me about how I do bone, and she was saying, do you start light and go dark, or dark and then go light? And I guess actually the answer to the question is a little bit of both, because I start with a medium color.
Yeah.
And then I actually put this in because I want all of our next colors now are going to be light. Uh-huh. And we're going to put them on very light and carefully, like you always do, but not like I always do. And that way, where we have these paints in the recesses will that value's lower.
Yeah.
And so as a result, when we put the bone over top of it, it'll still show through a little bit more.
Yeah. You talking about like how much difficulty you had putting these together makes me a little scared to pick it up. But
yeah, I'm terrified to pick this thing up.
Yeah, it's also like still terrifying, just like moving it around as well too.
It wobbles the whole time.
Yeah, it just wobbles the entire time.
I know. I'm very nervous about the cork I have here. I don't know. So listen, guys. I will say if you pick this model up. First of all, if you play AOS, you should definitely pick the model up. Right now, you can only get it in this box of terrain. And look, I think that's GW's way of saying, make some terrain.
Yeah.
They're like, hey, you want this amazing model for your army? That can go in any army.
Right, yeah. I'm sure they'll come out with an individual box for everything, like they normally do. They normally are like, here's the big box set, and then, maybe like a month later or something, here's everything individually.
Yeah.
That's usually how they do things, so.
Yeah, I will say that if you do pick one of these up, I think it's get ready to maybe do some pinning. I'm not sure. Yeah, I don't know. I think I could have done it without pinning, but man, I don't know. I'm still nervous, and I have one of these has 2 pins in it, and one has 1.
So I guess we'll see. Right?
We'll see. I think mine is the one with 1, which is why I think yours is so much more upright than mine. Because even if my guy's slouching a little bit.
Yeah, yours slouches a bit.
He's slouching a bit, which I'm.
Yeah, I guess we can.
Kind of okay with.
Like sort of compare a little bit. If you
yeah,
want
they'll
to.
have. Here,
we don't really have. Here, let's do the front shot, and then we can kind of like.
Because we'll have to. We're gonna eventually have to move these guys, Kat.
Yeah.
We eventually have to make.
You're gonna want to play with them as well too. We're gonna need to base them.
Yeah, I actually kind of don't mind the slight slouching because well, I will say I was gonna wait a little later to say this, but if you guys are fans of Tabletop Titans, we've been playing some Sigmar on Mondays. You might be able to see one of these on the box on the battle on Monday, and I'll be honest with you. Not only might you be able to see one of them, you will see one of them. In fact, you're going to see 2 of them because both Adrian and I are going to take one each and have them fight. Hopefully not just each other. But I kind of like I'm kind of okay with the slight different poses. Oh, this is a good opportunity to show the difference in these 2. Can we do a little shoulder zoom? Sorry, I'm making you do shoulder zooms while you're cleaning an airbrush.
It's all good.
Maybe just normal shoulder. Or how about normal shoulder? Bottom left, yeah. I think I realized that I changed all the buttons around, and you haven't produced since then.
Yeah.
Did that happen?
Probably.
Yeah, I think
there's some new stuff on it for sure, but also, I'm just not used to it.
Okay, hopefully you guys can see the difference. If you've ever wondered, here is XV88 with Agrax. Here's XV88 with Seraphim Sepia. It's a little darker over here.
Yeah. I think you can definitely see that sepia is more yellow toned.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, I'm gonna slide yours back. Oh, that was bad. That was scary. I'm glad he survived that. Like crash into the water bottle.
Yeah, I don't think they're that delicate, but it is definitely, there's not a lot of support going on, for sure.
Now, I'm trying to remember my process here because we actually going to do the horns in a slightly different way, slightly different color, and let me think what that means when we're going to do the horns.
Okay.
Let's do the horns now, actually.
Okay.
Because we're about to start working with light colors, and if we can, we don't want to be like, spraying. We don't want to be spraying like dark colors once we have the light bone colors down, right? I'd rather go the other way.
Yeah. Fair.
Okay, so here's the horns. Actually, I didn't tell you this, Kat. The horns are different.
Okay.
Okay, just heads up. Now you know. Okay, so for the horns, we're going to do the horns the same, you and I, but they're going to be different from the rest of the bone.
Okay.
But pretty simple. So first of all, I'm obsessed with the style of horns that you see when you go to a steakhouse, and they're like hanging on the wall, and they have like that like glossy black polish on like, you know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
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 So that's the style we're going to do.
Okay.
Okay.
For both of them, or?
For both, yes.
Okay.
Okay. Are you ready for this?
I don't know.
Okay. I'm masking. I'm just masking so I don't get... Because what we're going to do... Oh, did I actually not clean my airbrush? Just dump stuff out. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to cover, especially the top part of the horn, with Corvus Black.
Okay.
And
which is like the gray black-ish sort of. It would be like rubber black and anything else.
Yeah, it's like rubber. That's a good...
Yeah. It's not pure black.
It's not pure black.
Yeah.
I don't actually want pure black. That's a little too much. Okay. So I'm going to put a little Corvus Black in here.
Okay.
And we don't have to be too specific with where it goes, but Kat, just so you know, so maybe they're somewhat similar. I'm going to go about halfway down.
Okay. I will see what you do and then see if I can make it slightly different, but also the same.
Okay. So here we go. Horns. Just using some Post-it notes here real quick so I don't get too much black on my nice brown that I did. And yes, it occurs to me, of course, I could have just left this black from the primer, but again, I didn't really want a Baden black, the total...
The pure black,
The pure black, yeah.
Okay.
Now, we're going to be doing stuff over top of this, so don't worry too much like where you go. Like how far down you go. Okay. Look, the cork keeps coming off, and he's hanging in there. So maybe I got it.
Yeah.
Use 2 different types of glue and pinning.
Both super glue and plastic glue.
Yep.
And now I use plastic glue majority of the time. Unless I'm, doing like resin stuff or whatever, or something that I can't, like plastic glue, obviously. But I like plastic cement a lot when it comes to putting models together.
Yeah.
I find it sturdier. It's more forgiving while you're doing it.
Wait, so like plastic cement?
Cement, yeah.
Which is like the thin?
The super thin.
Yeah.
You almost like paint it on like it's nail polish.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's very thin. And it dries super quick because it's so thin. But 2, you can paint it over mold lines to kind of get rid of mold lines.
Oh, really?
A little bit, yeah. Yeah, you can kind of use it to, That's
kind of wild. I don't think I knew that.
Yeah, like melt. I mean, it melts plastic, and so like you can, you can use it over mold lines and stuff.
That sounds scary though, Kat.
Because it dries so quickly, it's not like you're like leaving it on there, and it's not like the Terminator in the lava pit or whatever. It's not going to be like that. But yeah, I like it a lot, especially like when I was putting together all of my Conquest stuff.
Right.
It had some like pretty bad mold lines. They were small, but they were everywhere. And, you know, I'm sure people know putting together an army is already time consuming in and of itself.
Mm-hmm.
And so I would just paint it over all these mold lines. And it got rid of a lot of them. And you can also kind of use it to, like, if you have a gap or something, like, soften your plastic, push it together.
Okay.
So I like it. It's fairly cheap as well too. You can get like a pretty big.
Do you use like the green label, like the glass jar with the green label?
I use a yellow label, and it's Mr. Hobby.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, it's a glass jar. But yeah, I like the yellow label one. Mr. Hobby also has ones that come in like a marker pen as well too, which makes things super easy. Yeah.
That sounds amazing. I should get that.
Yeah. I like it a lot. It makes things pretty simple to put together.
Well, thank you, Ty, as always. Ty, we love your support. Ty says, hey, Hobby Titans, what are your favorite non-GW model companies? Also, Zach, do you think you'll start a new Legion when Horus Heresy 2.0 drops or expand Thousand Suns? I'll answer that first because I'm going to set Kat on her next step. Kat, which is we take Mornifying Brown, which I gave you one right there.
Okay.
And you're going to go up the horn.
Okay.
And you can see, I kind of went about halfway, but the brown can go over the black.
Okay, and you're kind of just using it to like blend in the two colors. Okay.
Yeah. And believe it or not, that as far as the airbrushing goes, that's pretty much it. The other things we're going to do here on this horn is we're then going to wash it all with Reikland Flesh Shade Gloss. So we have a nice glossy horn.
Okay.
But we will, we'll go ahead and do that now so you guys can see it. Well, no, we'll do it after varnish. Why not? That's when it makes sense to do it. But we can also do a little bit of dry brushing. And to be honest with you, I'm open to your thoughts on that. Because I don't have to do all my horns all at the same time, all the time.
Right.
So whatever color you think. And we can move on. We can move on to the rest of the airbrushing too. So let me know what you think, Kat. Okay, Ty, back to your question. You know what? Listen, that's a very good question. I have Daughters of Cain, then I have 40K Thousand Suns. Then I have another 40K project for the studio of a certain army that won a certain what army should we paint next year vote. Next year being this year, it was Alpha Legion. I don't know why I'm being coy about it, but maybe because it's Alpha Legion. And then
I was just going to rinse it out.
I just took all the waters. Okay, even though there's two of them. Okay, just took yours from me.
No, it's fine. It's fine. Wonder if we should get the other spray out bucket or something.
Oh yeah, let me give you the little one. I'll use this big one off to the side. I have Alpha Legion, and then I also have Bone Reapers for Sigmar. So I have a lot going on. Also, the other thing where I'm really psyched about is maybe painting up like as many of the Ashland Waste guys as possible, and just because they look cool. But then chatting kind of maybe about using them in the studio as a Talaran guard army. We think that Codex is due sometime in the next year. Who knows if Talaran will be good, but I think Ash Waste guys are going to look like so cool as like these like desert fighters. So look, I've got a lot going on, Ty. But I will say this: if it comes out and it's like super cool when everyone's into it, then yeah, I'll add to it. Maybe a new Legion. As far as expanding my existing Legion, it's almost sad, like about 2/3 done. I have the Occult Blades. They are the specific sword marines for 30K Thousand Suns. They're like, they each have like 2 swords. That's it. I don't know why I thought that. I don't know why I thought I could go further with the they have
the
like
description of them. Yeah.
yeah. They have like these 2 cool like big kopeshes, like these like scimitars.
Oh, that's cool.
And I have them like about, I would say like in between half and 2/3 of the way finished. And then like 9th Ed came out, and like honestly I think 8th Ed came out, and I just never finished them. I started then I painted a whole Simhan, then I got into Sigmar. I just like really stepped away from Heresy. So I will definitely come back and finish those guys for sure. I also would love to, the Castellax, the Special 1000 Suns Castellax, I have 2 of them. They're 2 of my favorite models ever, and 2 models that I'm like very proud of how I paint it, although I think that's just because the models are cool. Does that ever happen to you? You're like, wow, I'm so happy I painted this. And you're like, you actually didn't paint better than you normally do. The models are just so good.
Fair. I mean, yeah, there's some models that like kind of lend themselves really well
to being like your favorite model you ever painted.
To looking really cool with like minimal
that's
effort.
True.
Yeah,
that's true.
Yeah.
And with this, with these guys, I wasn't airbrushing when I started this army. I was just rattle canning. I was rattle canning with the Fiston Red we bought a million of. So if I do need to expand this army, I'll be in pretty good shape.
Yeah. For a different project that hopefully will come out sometime soon.
Sometime soon. We thought we needed.
We way overbought on supplies. But, it's okay. We got a bunch of rattle cans for, whenever we need them.
By the way, we're so far off Ty's question, but for yet another project, Kat, I can actually show you because it's very funny. Oh,
okay.
Where did I put it? Oh, here we go. For another project recently that I did, that is, you guys pretty much know what project we're talking about here. I needed some ghost tints from Minotaur. I needed ghost tint purple. Ghost tint blue. And then I also needed Vallejo model transparent blue.
Right.
Okay. So I got 4 of each. I used a third of one purple.
Yeah.
I used 2/3 of one blue. And I did use an entire Vallejo Model Air.
Yeah.
But this is everything I have left now. So I don't know why we don't seem to be getting any better at scoping what we need.
No, it's like, oh man, we need this. We thought we bought enough pink foam.
For this
Didn't.
other not even close, actually. Not even close. That's okay, though, because we can just go to Home Depot.
Thought we needed extra of a bunch of paints and stuff. And thankfully, before we sent Adrian out to go buy all that, I was like, wait, let's just see like how far what we have will take us. And we ended up like not needing it at all.
Not even close.
All. Yeah, so... I think eventually we'll
get better at this.
Maybe, I don't know, but I guess to the second part of Ty's question is, what's your favorite what are some of your favorite non-GW model companies?
Yeah, look, I think the only other brand of model I've ever put together, who are the ones who make like little D&D models?
WizKids?
No. Is it Reaper?
Reaper?
Yeah.
Yeah, Reaper and WizKids. Well, if you're looking for D&D branded stuff, it's WizKids. But
no,
Reaper,
it wasn't D&D branded.
Yeah. Reaper makes like just really cheap, the soft plastic stuff. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Reaper makes the like the $2.
Yeah.
Here's your knight on a whatever.
Yeah. Right. Exactly. I've done a few of those. Speaking of Horus Heresy. We actually ran, one of the last things we did with our play group is have like a campaign, and it needed some NPCs for the campaign, so I got some from there to make some. Okay, we're moving on here as we answer this question. I'm going to use Ubshanti Bone. This is a little warmer, and Kat's going to be using Typhon Ash.
Yeah.
So again, I'm doing Fiery Guy, she's doing Icy Guy, and so here we go. Now this goes not on the horns, to the extent you can avoid them. Although it is okay if it goes a little bit up on the horns.
Okay.
And again, yeah. And the sticky. And yeah, again, this is where now I'm gonna actually start being like
a little bit more careful.
A real hobbyist, yeah.
Okay. My answer.
You probably have a more compelling answer than me.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I feel like I've explored more non-gaming model companies. And just like, this is a really cool model. I like it a lot. I am very excitedly waiting for a model that I ordered at Adepticon, but they ran out of them at Adepticon, but they were still honoring their Adepticon prices on their website, which I fully appreciated, with free shipping and everything. A model from Journeyman Miniatures. They have like a very small line of them, but they have this really cool like Minotaur. They have a really cool like ox dude or whatever.
Ox dude, yeah, that's it.
The model that I'm waiting for is this like female like ninja person thing, shinobi, I think. But yeah, she's really pretty. So I don't know about like model quality. What I saw at Adepticon was very promising, but you know, I don't have it in my hand, so like I'm not entirely sure. But their sculpts are really, 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 really cool. I really enjoy the model qualities and stuff from Cult of Paint models. Those are really cool.
Well, I know I have seen. I haven't like handled one or.
Yeah. They have their like sci-fi stuff on their website. I'm not entirely sure if they have their fantasy stuff on their website just yet, but that was their most recent Kickstarter that they did.
Oh, you know what else is? I like the Conquest, the Parabellum stuff.
Okay, yeah. Parabellum, yeah.
Those have been cool so far. Actually, the model that like I picked up and held in my hand, it was like, oh, this is pretty cool. We're honestly just the like Bridger assembled the 100 Kingdoms.
Okay.
And just like the man at arms, just like holding that model in my hand, I was like, I like the size.
Yeah.
I like everything about this because you know you and I painted up some at the start of this year.
Yep.
And I did the dwarf, and actually I wasn't like super compelled by that dwarf model.
Yeah.
But also he was just like a one-off character in resin.
Yeah.
The plastic ones, I was like, oh, I like these actually quite a bit.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Which I think is, you know, like, look, I think I always like plastic more than resin. And I mean, I think I'm not alone in that. And I think that's why, you know, case in point, GW is converting everything to plastic, right? Like stepping away from resin. And
well, I mean, the things that they've done in resin are not great quality resin.
Well, not fine cast, right? Especially.
Yeah.
But Forge World's okay, right? But yeah, not fine cast.
Yeah. Yeah, so the Cult of Paint stuff is really cool. I have like a whole box of the I think it's the Shadows of Camelot. I think that's what it is from Big Child. Those ones are beautiful. I'm almost intimidated to paint them up, but I'm excited to get those going. Some really cool like busts if you want them. You can get them from Blackheart. Okay, my issue when you get me talking about like, you know, smaller companies and stuff like that, I'm friends with a lot of these people, but like I'm also big fans of them as well too. So yeah. You know, I'm not trying to like hype my friends up and be like, go buy their stuff because they're my friends. It's, you know, they're actually like really good quality people. And quality products too. So Blackheart miniatures, you can get some really cool, very like cheap busts. There's a dragon bust. You can also get, if you feel up for a challenge, they sell half scale busts as well too.
Oh, we should do busts for like statues for terrain.
Oh, okay.
Would that make sense?
Yeah.
People do that, right?
Yeah. So yeah, I have their half scale Medusa bust, which is sitting in a box, and I'm very afraid to touch it.
Oh, I should get one of those for my daughter's Akane. Ooh.
Yeah. So yeah, there's a bunch out there. As far as like games and stuff go, the only other game I play is Conquest. I've played Malifaux, and their sculpts are really cool, but they're very small.
Same with the Infinities.
Oh, yeah, I don't know about Infinity, but they're very, very, very small. They're very intricate, like, sculpts. They're cool in that way alone. but they're such a pain to put together. That, yeah. So, I don't know, but the gameplay for it is really cool. So if you're looking for like cool non-GW games to play, I'd say Conquest. Battletech is cool. Malifaux, you know, whatever. But if you're just looking for like beautiful models, then yeah, I would check out any of the ones that I mentioned just now.
I'm loving already seeing the differences between the colors. It's subtle, but it's actually enough that I'm like super. Look how like. Well, we'll show them. We'll show them on Glam Cam, actually.
Yeah, we'll toss them up there.
Yeah, before we magic them up. Now, Kat,
I got to clear whatever is clogging this.
You know, real quick, just so you know, I did this skull here.
Oh, okay.
I know on the box that remains like a big glowing thing. And I don't know. I might make it glowy. I'm not sure yet. But let me tell you what the next step is, which I should have told you already. But I mean, I just in case it changed how you want to paint, and because I'll be honest with you, I'm kind of like torturing Kat here by not telling her the next step, because I don't know about you, but I'd almost always be asking, what are we doing next?
Yeah, what's next? Yeah.
As I'm doing step 3, I want to know what step 4 is.
Yeah.
So here's what step 4 is. I think that's the number we're on. We're gonna use. You might have heard this local, just a local favorite around here. aka titanium white.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah.
So here's what we're going to do with this. It's going to have a dual purpose in our next step. One, we're going to put it heavily wherever there's magic swirl.
Okay.
And that's because we're about to start putting bright magic swirl colors on. Right?
Okay.
You're going to be putting blue.
Blue, yeah.
I'm going to be putting fire color
okay.
stuff. While that's happening, we're like kind of okay with some of the overspray, lightening up the bone even a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll probably have to put some a little bit carefully, like on the face, because there's not a lot of magic swirl up there. I did bring a Sotar. I actually meant to ask you to bring a Sotar and I forgot, but that's okay. Because I feel like I would use it here, but I think I can actually do this with a Patriot. So if you want to use the Sotar, use it. I feel like now it's like I've set it up as like a flex.
Yeah, that you can do this with a...
Yeah, like you're not... I know you're now not going to use the Sotar.
No, I'm not.
Yeah,
and
so now...
I have enough control with the Patriot.
Now, I don't want to use the Sotar.
I don't want to clean another airbrush. Is that like...
Oh my
sad
gosh,
that's really my reasoning?
Honestly, I switch back and forth from a Patriot to a Sotar like all the time.
Yeah. I'm just very... if I'm using someone else's stuff, I'm great with cleaning. I don't want it, to be like a, oh man, Kat used my airbrush and now it's all clogged and like what's going on. But I am awful with cleaning and keeping up with my stuff. So yeah.
All right. Well, I'll use the Badger and we'll just say that's what we're doing.
Yeah, that's fair. Thank you, Broken Chef. Fan Fund is a go. John is always such a fiend, but loved. I tried glazing, like was mentioned. It seems like a lot of time, well worth it. Is it a time-consuming technique? Yes, 100%. 100%. Glazing is a very, 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 very time-consuming technique. But if you do it right, I just poured more paint into the pot, and I meant to pour it out. So, for anyone who caught that. You
poured the paint from there back into the pot?
No.
No, you're loading back up. You're going again.
No,
you want to do a third Krondspine?
I didn't want to. Yeah.
Triple Krondspine?
Yeah. So, yes, glazing is probably the most time-consuming technique because it's a lot of back and forth. It's a lot of like very, very, very thin layers. It's a lot of transparent colors that you're layering, oh my gosh, on top of each other. And yeah, like it should be time consuming. If you're trying to rush glazing, you're not doing it right because you need your layers to dry, all sorts of stuff, right? You want to make sure that you're not putting too much on, everything. So yeah, it just is not something that you want to rush, but I like it a lot. I think it is the best way to up your paint game, in my opinion.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
What's like a project you reckon you'd toss out? Like, hey, get glazing.
Oh,
let's get glazing.
Like cloths.
Get glazing with cat.
Yeah, cloths or capes. Anything that's flat. That's great. I think with cloths and capes, you can I guess see the results the best.
I see.
And like notice them and see what a difference it makes. And so that's really my number one suggestion. Do you have like a thing of cleaner?
Yeah, I do. We actually need to get some cleaner.
Yeah,
this is it. So
okay.
Yeah, I need to pick some.
Yeah, because there's like a little clog in here, and I want to get it out. Yeah.
Okay, so you guys can see what I'm doing here is, actually I think I know this is gonna sound crazy, but I actually kind of think that the Patriot is the better call here, because sort of the natural overspray you get is gonna be good because we want glow, right? I want glow. They actually don't paint like any glow on theirs, on the box. And I don't know, I kind of want a little bit of glow onto the bone. So I'm painting all the magic swirly areas with titanium, aka titanium white. Some of them are harder to get to than others. It's magic swirl glow, so you can't leave the stuff on the inside dark. You know what I mean? You can't cheat. You got to paint the stuff on the inside.
Yeah.
So thankfully, this guy, I'm actually like currently here's a pro technique. I'm putting the airbrush through his ribs.
Yeah.
To get this glow over here.
It's pro because you don't want to bend your needle or anything like that. Yeah.
No, it's pro.
Leave this to the professionals.
Pro because it's ridiculous.
I'm sorry. I was trying to justify what you were doing here.
When you do that, make sure you don't dip his horn in the cup of your airbrush, because that almost just happened.
Or tip your airbrush over and
dump all
the
over,
paint, everything. Yeah. No, it was great. I almost did that to Adrian on accident. I handed him an airbrush full of paint. I don't think he realized it was full of paint. No, nothing happened.
But
thankfully.
It could have been.
It could have been a disaster. Yes.
We should film. We should do like public service announcement films. Only we had the time.
Infomercials, I think, would be really cool.
Infomercials, that air like in the middle of a stream.
Yeah. Of we have a bowl of popcorn and like a cup of soda and like, oh my gosh, how do we pick up the TV remote? Yeah, no, it's great. Yeah, fantastic. So you're just spraying the white then. I think I got the clog out. Okay. But there's a little bit that I can see, but I don't want to hold this up.
We can transfer it. In fact, let's actually just transfer. Yoink. Wait, hold on though. This one's a little sticky. This is a sticky one.
Oh, the sticky trigger?
Yeah. Do you want the sticky trigger or do you want that one?
I will stay with this one.
Okay.
Yeah, that's fair.
I can't tempt you with a sticky trigger?
No, and also it doesn't want to lock back on now.
So to do...
Yeah, I got it.
Okay.
I got it.
Yeah. We actually have been running, a lot of this stuff was literally bought about a year ago. We're coming up on a year of Hobby Titans. And a lot of this stuff has been run into the ground, I will say that.
But yeah, that's fair. I think some heavy maintenance needs to be done on some of the stuff anyway.
Some heavy maintenance on the quick couplers, yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, Joe Betts. What OBR model are you most excited to paint? Thanks for the stream and all the good advice and cheer. Super duper helpful. Well,
thank you, Joe. I am most excited to paint. Oh God, let me think. Oh, Joe, I think it's an easy one. I'm most excited to paint the catapult because the Mortrek crawler. Because look, I have a guard playing friend. We've talked about Brent and I have talked about our friend Colin, who's in our local play group here. And Colin is always like, whenever he brings, I think it's his Wyvern, he's always like, yeah, I just love my Wyvern. He's like, guys, it's the only model that's also a diorama. Because in the back, it's that open tank with an artillery piece. And there's guys in the back working, loading the shells. And that's exactly what's happening with the crawler. There's a crew of 6 skeleton dudes. running this giant catapult. It's a trebuchet, actually, right? Actually, it's a trebuchet. Yeah, so they're running this trebuchet, and it's so cool. So that's it. I put 2 of them together because they came in Joe in the Mortician Tithe box, and I picked up 2 of those boxes to start my army. I put 2 of them together, and I was able to kind of do like slightly different poses and like a little bit of customization, so both don't have the skeletons doing the same thing.
Yeah.
But it's so cool. There's like the commander's like has like climbed up to the top, is like pointing out targets. There's a guy loading skulls into like flaming skulls into things.
Yeah.
There's like a guy running on this like hamster wheel that like pulls the trebuchet. It's so cool. It's got so much going on. I think the crew is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 dudes, and they're all like working. One guy's like got a shovel. He's like, it's so cool. So honestly, that. And I'll give you a second one, a bonus one. Oh man, all the characters. Oh man, honestly, the whole army. And I'm excited how fast it's gonna go because like this is gonna be 90% is literally what Kat and I are doing right here. Because I'm gonna make a new bone recipe for these guys. But I'm just gonna go through and do the whole thing in bone and then just like chill out, do brushwork, a little bit of brushwork every night. So I'm very excited about all of it. The characters as well. The Soul Mason and all of them. I'm really excited to get going on that army, to be honest with you.
That's awesome. Because the more you described it, the more I was like, oh, now I know what this is.
Okay.
But
Osek Bone Reapers. They're one of the Sigmar armies.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
A lot of people don't know this, but they're not actually skeletons that have been raised from the dead. Adrian didn't know this. They're actually just constructs made from bone. If that makes sense. So like golems, bone golems.
Yeah.
Okay, how are you doing? You're doing the white.
I'm airbrushing the white.
Is the airbrush is it running okay?
Yeah, actually, and that's that. The reason why I wanted to like make sure it was clear was that it wasn't spitting white everywhere.
Yeah, absolutely, because we don't want that.
Yeah. So, awesome.
Okay, I can read this next one. Thank you, Rudy. Greetings, Hobby Titans. Helping a local gaming store increase their terrain. Oh, that's awesome of you. I'm using your techniques, sculpting pink foam and painting wildwood trees. I watch your videos, and you're an indispensable part of my hobby enjoyment. Aww. Thank you. Wow, Rudy, that's awesome. I super would love to know what you're doing for a number of reasons. Honestly, I'm just kind of curious. You do this. This is like, he's literally describing like maybe a third of your life, right? Which is like,
I don't know about a third, but a big chunk.
4 or 5% of your life, adding terrain to a gaming store.
Yeah, depending on like what we have going on and stuff like that. I mean, it's definitely like, it's sort of my go-to. Well, I finished all my emails. What else can I do?
Yeah.
And, yeah. So yeah, but no, that's really awesome. I always love it when like customers and stuff help out with terrain. It's a little nerve-wracking because I know how other people treat terrain.
Yeah.
And it's not fun when you like put all this work and time and effort into something and then like you come back and like things are broken off of it or whatever. But as long as people are honest, we have signs out that are like, hey, if you break something, we won't be mad. Just like don't put it back on the shelf.
Let us know, yeah.
Yeah, like honestly, bring it up to the counter.
What was this super chat's name? Was it Ricardo? Ricardo, yeah.
Yeah.
Honestly, Ricardo, I would say Rudy Picardo. Okay. Sorry, Rudy. I just combined your first and last name. Rudy, one thing I would say to do, like without being, because you're doing this nice thing for them, you don't then want to be like, hey, by the way, you guys need to do this for me. But see if you can get like ahead of and manage the storage, because honestly, what happens with terrain, you do this. We had Fault Line. We stored terrain at Game Castle and everything. And what happens, terrain almost never breaks. There's this assumption that like terrain gets broken while people are playing.
No, terrain gets broken as people are either taking it from a terrain shelf to a table or taking it from the table back it to the terrain shelf or into storage or whatever. It's usually like a thing where, or sometimes things do get broken when people are playing because someone like knocks something off the table, but it's in transit is usually when most of the accidents happen.
That's where 90% of all the damage happens. So, and it's tough because like shelves are actually great. That's what we do here at the studio. We just have a room with a bunch of shelves, and our terrain really doesn't break. In fact, here, famously, Adrian has a tendency to like accidentally knock my terrain over. But that almost never breaks it. Like you guys, if you're fans of Tabletop Titans, you see he like knocks my terrain over all the time. It usually doesn't break.
Yeah.
And we don't have a lot of breakage here, honestly. We have like very little breakage here, which is amazing. But there's like basically me, Adrian, and Lindsay handling it.
Right.
And for the most part, it goes from there. It goes from one room to the next room, and then we store it on shelves. And we don't like store things in like heaps, like
you don't stack them on top of each other.
Rooms, like in a pile, like everything kind of goes in. Scatter is in like these bins that are like here's like gray rubble scatter you pulled out. It's in there. So if you can like kind of manage the storage, Rudy, like I think you'll find that your efforts go a longer way, if that makes sense.
Yeah, you will not be so heartbroken usually if it's like, because but the thing is, right, is that what we find is that people who like, especially like pink foam, like the little stands that we made last week.
Oh, yeah.
People will just go, oh, it's just foam. I'm just going to chuck it in this bin, not right? Cool. And so... you will get people who just don't care and won't put it back nicely, stuff like that. We've had kids who have just dropped full on like towers, and then like they think they're gonna get in trouble, and so they put it back on the shelf, and then the next person goes to pick it up, and like a wall falls off. So, it's just a thing where it happens, right? Be prepared for it to happen. I think what is a thing where it's like, okay, you're going to build this nice, wonderful thing. Now say goodbye to it. And so, but that's really awesome that you're doing that. I think that, your local game store is going to definitely appreciate the heck out of that. Because I know that that's like a huge thing, especially when game stores are getting started.
Yep.
Or they're just building a community. It's not something that a whole lot of stores think about, is building up a terrain library and whatever.
Now, Rudy, I will give you, if you want to know how to level up your terrain-ness next, obviously if you're airbrushing, if you're not airbrushing, I'd get an airbrush. Terrain is a great way to get better at airbrushing, right?
Yeah. It's very forgiving.
Very forgiving, and big spaces, little spaces. You can. Oh, I've got 15 barrels. Cool. Let me mess one up. Whatever. Right. You know what I mean? Whereas like, oh, I have a squad of 10 fire warriors. Oh, I messed one up. Or 5 intercessors. Cool. Now I don't have a squad anymore because I can't have a squad of 4.
Right.
Right. So like, barrels like way better. But we have there's 2 of them out there. You're cutting pink foam, which is awesome. Kat knows I'm obsessed with my table cutter. I have a Hercules. The other big one is Proxin, and they're super awesome. Mm-hmm. And they're not that much. They're like $120.
It's an investment for sure.
It's an investment.
Yeah, but if you're building a lot of terrain or whatever, maybe that store will go halvesies on you, or maybe the store will buy it and then let you use it. Whatever, right? So.
Wait, was that an option? I'm just kidding. Wait, was that an option with you with Gamecast? No. I'm joking, of course.
No.
Oh, wait, what?
Yeah.
No, that's okay. I would. I love mine so much that I couldn't bear to be away from it, honestly.
Yeah.
Actually, it's funny. I ordered the circle cutter, and from this Etsy.
And it came in.
It came in.
Yeah.
But it's the slot is on the wrong side.
Oh, no.
So I think because the Hercules is a little less common than the Proxin. And so I'm guessing that the Etsy shop is like making stuff just now for the Hercules, is like becoming a little more popular. And I'm guessing they just, I don't know, are not used to it. It
was just a generic thing, and like, you know.
Maybe. They had the option, Proxin or Hercules.
Oh.
And I picked Hercules, but it's on the wrong side.
Maybe they just sent you the wrong one.
Yeah, maybe they sent me the procs in. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe, but I kind of like tried it out, and it's just on the wrong side.
Okay.
So, but that could be how a proxin is. I don't know. Anyway, pink foam table cutter, super cool. And you know, pink foam is funny because, yeah, you know, we all have different incomes and different jobs, right? This is my job, so like paying $120 for this is not like a big thought for me, right?
Yeah.
If it's just a hobby, it could be. But pink foam is funny because you just get so much terrain, you get so much mileage, so much footprint on the table with pink foam. You know, you can buy like this Thondrian Strong Point is like 220 some bucks.
You get like 2 buildings.
You get this cool guy.
Yeah.
But let's say this guy was out and it was 180 bucks instead. You get enough really for like half a 2,000 point board, so like 1,000 point board. Mm-hmm. What are you looking for?
Oh, I was just comparing.
Oh, sorry. Oh yeah, let's do it. Let's put him on Glam Cam.
Oh, okay.
Is your guy done this stage?
Yeah.
Okay, I want to see how they look. Now, actually, I think we're going to find that they look slightly less, slightly more the same now, actually in this kind of intermediary step, because of the white we've added, right? So this is cats, and what you would be looking for here is that it'd be a little cooler. And I actually was having an easier time seeing this before we both added the white to it. Now that we've added the white to it, there's like all this overspray, which is good, but all the overspray is the same color since we use the same white. So, in fact, if I didn't have the cork on it, no, I can tell the difference, but barely. Yeah, yours is almost like a little grayer, and mine's like a little warmer, I guess would be the words I would use.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. Super cool model.
No, yeah, it's turning out really cool. I like it a lot. I got some overspray of the white on the tips of the horns, but I can go back and fix that.
Yeah, and we can also fix that. I had that too. I'm gonna probably fix it with I'll say a brush.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I'm trying to think we'll do the horns almost at the end, I think, because we'll do a little dry brush. We'll clean up the horns, do a little dry brush, and then do the gloss after we varnish. I love, one of my favorite things is putting a gloss shade. That there's very few of them out there. Well, that's not true, but like some kind of glossy ink over black. That's not black. Like, it's a cool look, I think.
Like, do you dry brush like white and then put on
you'll see.
color?
Well, we are going to do a dry brush, right?
Right,
on the horn.
Right. Because I'm trying to figure out where that color is.
It's crazy subtle. It's crazy subtle.
Okay.
So, but when we put Reikland Flesh Shade over the black, you'll like see it. It's like the way it catches light.
Okay.
Is kind of the thing. Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and do. This is kind of a big first step here. We're turning this guy into a fiery guy now. I'm using Evil Sun Scarlet, and all the places I just did white, I'm going to do a bunch of Evil Sun Scarlet. Now, I picked colors out for you for iceness.
Okay.
If you feel like there's better options, go for it. But I think, I don't know. I think that'll look good.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, now there is definitely a clog, but I will...
You can also use the Sotar if you want.
Figure that out. No, I want, it's in the inner nozzle.
Still too much pride to use the Sotar.
Yeah, well, it's also a thing where like I want to use this because it's a bigger model and it's putting out more stuff. There we go. That's interesting. It's putting out more paint, and I want that, honestly. But,
yeah.
It's a thing where it's being difficult, so. Can watch me disassemble an hairbrush. Okay,
well, we can do a zoom here while I do a little bit of reddening here.
Yeah.
So just
actually, let's get in that shoulder. Just gonna pop it up a little bit.
There we go. Trying to avoid some of the magic actually goes behind the bones. Just being careful. Thinking about what I'm spraying through on the other side as well, guys. Of There we go.
All right. Well, while we do this, we got another super chat here. Thank you, Orc Zach. Good WOG Titans.
Good WOG. Yeah.
All right. Had a blast working on a new display piece and now working on the Avatar of Cain. 16 hours in and probably 50 plus to go.
Oh, fun.
You painted this on stream.
I did, yeah.
Yeah, no, it's a really cool model. I've seen a lot of people do some really cool stuff with it. Honestly, it was a lot bigger than I thought it was going to be, but mostly just because I don't really know a whole lot about the avatars.
Yeah.
So that was interesting. I didn't expect that they made, I guess, models that size. But it was cool. It was almost like an action figure.
Wait, you've seen like big GW models. You painted a knight.
Yeah, but not like a dude, if that makes any sense.
Oh, I guess so. Yeah, he's pretty much like, you're right. He's pretty much like a dude. Everything else is kind of like a suit or something. It's not very common for 40K, right? Like AOS has the Gargants and stuff, but there's no like giant dudes really. Yeah, it was a cool model. It's funny that you say that. I actually kind of was thinking that model was going to be, I actually wanted it to be bigger. As I was sitting there painting it, I was like, you know what? I like this, but I just want it to be like a little bit bigger. Oh, sorry.
Okay. Opposite of fire with ice. I'm going to do dark first and then go in. Oh, that's a shade.
Yeah, I got the shade just in case, but that was what I picked out. I as you guys can tell, I kind of picked out like brighter colors for this thing.
Yeah.
I picked out kind of a brighter bone recipe. I did get a wash for you, and I did get a wash for me, but I don't know that we're going to need them. Let's see. This is a great model for airbrushing, though, I will say that.
Yeah, it's large. My only thing is with airbrushing, I want to be able to like manipulate the model more and like flip it up or upside down and everything, and I'm just afraid to do so. So I'm getting overspray in places that I don't want to.
Do you want a cork?
No.
Okay.
I don't think that will make me feel better about flipping it around. But yeah. But it's okay. I got a Post-it note. I should remember to use it. So yeah.
Yeah. Now, actually, we were kind of talking about, we always do like a top 5, but every now and then, you guys will recall, we do a deep thought. And Kat and I were kind of chatting, and one of the things that made this stream kind of a joy to get ready for, certainly it wasn't putting the Krondspine together, I'll tell you that, is that I was like, well, look, all I have to do, I have a bone recipe, right? I have a bone recipe. And my bone recipe allows for some variations. It's almost less of a recipe and more of a process.
Right.
Right. I have a way that I airbrush bone, and I can slot things in and out. And it kind of got me thinking, like, what are like other go-tos, right? And so that's our question for the week that we kind of want to ask you guys, and we want to ask ourselves and chat about. What are some of your favorite painting go-tos? And we were talking. I was asking this as Seth. Kat, I think while you were getting mics, doesn't the word twos, plural, just look so like it's not a real word? It
looks like in terms of service.
Terms of service.
Yeah. Toss. Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway.
What are some of your favorite painting terms of service? Yeah.
Terms of service.
Yeah, twos. Yes.
It almost works. Yeah, and you can put it. We looked it up. Adrian and I actually had this same issue like a month back, and we looked it up, and you can put an apostrophe or not. But there's no consensus on it. There's no, like, officially, if you use the word twos, use an apostrophe.
Oh, okay.
Right? What's up with that?
I mean, it's like the Oxford comma, right? Like, you can use it or not, as long as people understand what you're talking about or whatever. And by that, I think that's the right term for it, is like when you're listing out things. Mm-hmm. is you put a comma before you start listing out everything. And so like you do one extra comma.
Oh, interesting. Hey, Kat, I think there's a button for this. Do you see the light bulb button? I think you press that light bulb.
Nerd.
Anyway. Anyway, okay.
So I think really what it is that you're getting at me for reading, and I know you don't do a whole lot of reading.
That's it.
So, it's great. Anyway, Zach, what are some of your favorite hobby go-tos?
So what we're kind of talking about is using like repeated recipes that you use, right?
Yeah.
What is the way that you often address painting, stuff that comes up again and again, right? So like metal is a good one, armor. I know I kind of, like I was saying, I always think of it in terms of like, here's what I'm most comfortable with, but I try to figure out, make changes in how I can slot different colors in. So metal, like I always do lead belcher, and then I will typically wash with Agrax, and then like Rune Fang is a highlight, right?
Okay.
And that's just like, for like silver metal, that's like, if I just need something, like if it's terrain, like Imperial, 40K terrain, that's like almost always what I do. But it's kind of fun to like have these processes, I think, because once you feel comfortable with a single process, I feel more comfortable to start like making variations on it. Right?
Yeah.
So that's like my metal one. What about you? What's like a good cat process over and over again?
Yeah, because we were talking about it, and you're like, oh, we can go into like recipes and whatever, and you're like, well, you don't do recipes. I don't, but I have a general gist of like usually when I go into something of like, okay, I know what colors to grab for, and I do find myself grabbing for similar colors. Like if I'm gonna paint bone, I want to start with like a dark brown, and then go up from there. And then, if I want it to be like blackened bone or whatever, then, I have a process for that. And so, I want to say like, I've tried having recipes, but then there's times where I'm like, well, this specific recipe, like I want it to look this way. So maybe I'll change out one color from it or whatever. Right. But like, it's similar to like color schemes. I find myself gravitating to similar color schemes, but not maybe like the same exact paint colors.
Well, right, we were talking about this too. That's a little different, but that is also kind of interesting where like we have colors that we like, and we always kind of like, Seth was saying what, like blue and gray. I know Adrian always uses Vallejo blue-green, like in everything he paints. I feel like I've kind of not done that. I feel like more so I have a hue or value.
Right, brightness.
Yeah, in general, I'm kind of like you in that I like my stuff. Honestly, I typically go for like muted plus bright. Is that a thing? That's usually like my color. The way I build up color, it creates like a bright yet muted look. Muted, like, I guess you could say it either way. I don't think I'm like always like, I always love grabbing like this particular blue or this particular green.
Right.
You feel like, I guess you do that. You use a lot of like pink and purple.
I use a lot of navy blue and then like a purple and a pink. Okay. Usually like a really dark thing, and then it goes up like, and then I'm gonna highlight in like fluorescent pink or something, or fluorescent magenta, because but yeah, that's usually like my go-to, and then sometimes I'll try and like very purposefully break myself of that. Of if I notice I'm doing this a lot, I want to challenge myself and break myself of that. So like that's kind of why I don't have a recipe of like, okay, I'm gonna grab these 3 colors if I'm gonna paint this, because there's so many different ways of painting, like essentially the same thing. That I want to break myself of that. So I have processes that I go through of like, okay, if I'm going to do this, like if I'm going to pick a color scheme, my process of that is, I'll go and look at all my paints. I'll pick one color that I'm like, okay, I want to paint this color. And then I'll just scan down and be like, okay, well, what goes with that, right? So that's my process of picking a color scheme.
Now, how is that different for doing it for an army? Because like it's like the commitment is different. I don't even know if the right word is the commitment is more, but the commitment is different when you're like, cool, this is going to be the color of my army, my Verdrune or my Moonspite or whatever. Like how's that different for that? Like, because picking, like going back, I want to paint this one piece of terrain as this one model, right? It's like you do it and then, not that you're done, but you do it and then you move on from there. Like once you start painting an army, like you're kind of locked in, right?
Yeah. When I start painting an army, or like when I start painting a full table that's going to go together, or whatever. Then
anything we have to do it more than once.
I will set aside those paints, and so technically that will be my recipe for that table.
Yeah.
But I don't write it down.
But you still do it the same way. You still like kind of go and look at your paints and say like, what do I want to use here?
Oh yeah.
Oh, interesting. I mean, that makes sense. Yeah. That's the process you're used to.
Yeah.
And you just adapted it to something different, right?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Like that's how I would do that, right? Because I'm a very visual person, but I need to see it in like I guess not on a computer screen, right? Because I know that there's the Adobe Color app that I've talked about before with helping you paint or pick a color scheme.
Yeah.
I'm a very I need to have it tangible in my hands. I need to see it in the lighting that I am seeing everything in.
Interesting.
So
I guess I like to do that eventually too.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can't like for armies there are all these things where it's like a blank outline of like a space marine, and you go and like load the colors in you want and be like, okay, that's what I can't do that. I don't think I get anything out of that.
Yeah.
Like on a computer like screen or like a website. I'm sure they're so popular, but they used to be like just websites, like flash things that people made. Orcsec says all red purples start with black red and build up from there. So yeah, that's exactly the type of stuff we're talking about. Usually going to a mid-tone red. Yeah, just like having a process. All reds, purples. Start with
like if I'm gonna
red.
paint skin, I paint all black red. If it's gonna be like a warm skin tone or whatever, not like
undead,
like a European olive skin tone or whatever. But if it's gonna be like, okay, the base is gonna be warm, I will paint black red every single time. I will paint black red.
Interesting. I mean, that makes sense though, yeah.
And that would be my process. And then like even going up from there, okay, whatever other skin tone I do from here on out will go on top of that, whether or not that's, a darker skin tone or a lighter skin tone, I will always paint dark red. Unless it's undead, then I'll paint like a green or a yellow or whatever. Depends on what I'm going for. So yeah, I think it's interesting. I like seeing like the recipes and stuff that people have, but I don't use that then to like go, okay, I need to pick up these paints. It's just, I'm going to use colors that are similar to this, and I can see why they're using these colors and stuff. Yeah,
of course. That makes sense. Yeah. Okay. So here's another one for me. Well, bone. We're doing bone. I have a bone go-to. And yeah, I kind of have a skin go-to as well, but again, it's like a process for my skin, and it's honestly fairly similar to my bone process, based on like getting one airbrush, like the undertone of skin down. So like whether it's brown or like where you would put black red, right?
Right.
Something like that. But then I do the same thing where I put a wash down, so let it go into the recesses, and then I start adding lighter colors, so that the value is like remains kind of low there. Any place where like I feel like I add too much value, I will typically, like this guy on his skull head here, I might go back and like just touch up a little bit with Reichland here at the end. Yeah. So having like that process, I don't know, it's kind of nice. But I am actually doing it a little bit different on my daughters because I'm not using the wash step. I'm just building the skin up with airbrush. Because their skin is like a little more nice since they're elves. And
well, you kind of are using a wash step, right? Because you're using the contrast through an airbrush.
On hair.
Oh, okay. I thought you used it on the skin.
Oh yes, I am. You're right. You're right. I'm using it in one spot. Actually, I took it out of a spot. I realized it wasn't necessary. But You're right. I am still using it in one.
Yeah.
step.
So it's sort of a wash, but it's not a wash, right? It's not a GW shade.
You're right. I forgot about that. So even there, I'm still doing it.
But I think really my big thing is understanding the why of something helps you develop your own process and develop your own color scheme and develop your own way of like, okay, well, I understand why they did this. I can then apply it my own way. So that's always been like a big thing for me, just in general, but especially with painting. Because I'm not gonna like copy necessarily, but I want to understand why they're using these colors, why they're putting them in these areas, why did you put a yellow on top of this green and it makes it brighter, blah 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 blah, and like understanding color theory and stuff. And yeah. So that's always been my big like, I'm going to teach you how to do this, but you need to understand why I'm picking these colors. And I like going into that explanation. And sometimes it works for people. Sometimes people are just like, this is too much. Just tell me the paints that you use. So, but that's always been my, like, I don't know. I guess like motivation for different processes that I'm using and stuff. And what I like a lot is that as you get better and as you, I don't even know if you just get better, as you do more. Yeah. Your own processes start to develop because you're developing your own paint style.
Well, no, exactly, right? And like honestly, even writing stuff down is nice, and like literally, like I told you, I when I wrote that down, I was like, do I need to do that step? Because like I wrote down, and then I was like, after I put 2 colors down, then did a contrast, then put 2 more, then put 1 more color down, then put a contrast, then put titanium white, right, as a final value add. And I was kind of like, do I need that first contrast? There's like 4 layers of paint happening after that. Like that can't be doing anything,
right?
And it wasn't.
Okay.
So I don't know. I kind of like writing it down and just like I know, repeating steps. It's practice, right?
Yeah.
That's literally what you're doing is practicing.
Yeah, you're seeing what works for you, and if you find that like doing that, step in the middle isn't doing a whole lot for you, then remove it. But then you know why, of like, okay, well, it's because I'm covering it up at the end of the day anyway, so like I can just remove this.
Yeah, and I think a lot of guides, even guides, and I'll find on like YouTube or like websites and stuff. I'll look at how people do things, and I'm often like, I think that they can remove that step. And I'll like try it, and like I feel like my results are often similar, or I'm like, oh, now I see why they did that.
Yeah,
right? Like, one or the other happens.
A lot of painting is experiments and figuring out what works best for you. A lot of painting is also covering up your mistakes as well too. So learning how to do that is pretty important. Broken Chef again, awesome. So Zach is now the villain. So quasi-evil Zach. How many days did you have the button planned out?
Well, hold on. So this button, it's
from a different strain.
I do love a good long game Broken Chef, but No, that I didn't do that. This was from, you were here. We were using it 2 weeks ago when Adrian and I did our top favorite nerds from Games Workshop models. And we just have not replaced the button. But last week, like a drive was taken out of the computer that had the button on it. And we just want to give it, we don't really want to overuse it, right? So, oh my God, that thing like immediately looks cold. Oh, yes.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, okay. I'm so happy with how these are turning out.
Yeah, no, it's looking good. I'm struggling a little bit with this paint, though. So, yeah. I'm trying to get it to not, like...
Splatter?
You know how, like, it's like, here's a circle, jump, skip, or skip, right? Oh. And I'm trying to get it to,
like... I think it might be too thin. I did add a little thinner to it, honestly.
Yeah, it's just drying on the needle, and that's...
Gotta stay on top of your toothbrush.
Yeah. So, the quads are evil. I don't know about that, but
is that not far enough?
Yeah, I just think it's a little too nice, but no, it's fine. We're all nerds here. So,
yeah, I had that. Yeah, so that's why that was up. That would be great though.
No, it's fantastic. I was here when you made the button. Had some input on it.
Yeah, you were here. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, it needs to like jump out.
Doesn't the button say "Thanks, nerd" on it? You knew what was coming.
Yes. It says "Thix nerd."
Oh, it's like THX nerd.
Yeah. Anyway, so it's all good. Caldorf, thanks, Hobby Titans. Any advice on painting ropes on Mega Gargants? And you've painted.
Yeah, this is I think Caldorf's messing with it. Caldorf, I'm going to answer this like it's a real question. I don't know if it's not or if it is, because the joke is that Hobby Titans started with a giant 12-hour mega stream on painting Gargants, where we painted like 3 big ones and 3 little ones. And Brian got put on rope duty, and the big issue was that like it was sort of like too many chefs in the kitchen, and like different people adding the different components of the process.
Yeah.
And like I had not really thought that through.
Yeah.
So I was like, Brian, just like go over the rope with Ushanti bone, and I was using air, but like the steps before like didn't really support that well, so he had to do like multiple layers, and it's a pain in the butt because you have to go and trace it out really carefully with your like, you know, it's a total pain in the butt. Now my advice, honestly, how I would do it under most circumstances. No joke, painting one. Okay, Caldorf. Okay, good. So, Caldorf, since you're here real quick, tell me what color skin you're doing for your Gargant. Because if his skin is not too dark, what you can do is just go ahead and paint him, like ignore the rope, whether you're airbrushing or not airbrushing, ignore the rope. And then, honestly, at this point, probably back in the summer last year, I wouldn't have used contrast. I'd have used a shade. But at this point, honestly, rope feels like something that's good for contrast. It's like a little clingy. You want that kind of, it's not like, I think of like contrast anywhere where you're like, boy, I would like this transparent paint to kind of like cling and sort of fill in the recesses, but not like deep recesses. That's what I use shade for.
Yeah. Well, because a contrast is almost like a jelly shade in a way, right? Consistency-wise, it's thicker, so it won't go as deep into crevices, and it'll kind of like smooth it out a little bit. It not like texture wise, it just won't settle so much in those crevices. Yeah. Right.
So yeah, I don't know. I feel like I would first one not dark. Yeah, I would paint it and ignore the rope, and then I would use, you could use a shade, like a, honestly, whatever your favorite is, or try a new one out of either. I've been just really enjoying like finding the right application for Citadel shades, AK inks, and Citadel contrasts, right? I've been really enjoying like kind of the nuances of how they work and where I want to use one over the other. So that, I think that would be my advice. How what would you do? Like, have you?
Yeah,
if you know where it looks like, right? It's like almost like dug into their skin.
Yeah. So my thing would be paint them like a light bone ivory color, and then either use skeleton horde contrast paint that'll give you like a golden.
That's almost like a seraphim, or not seraphim.
A sepia.
Sepia.
Yeah. That'll give you like a golden rope color. And then there's one next to it that's a brownish.
Guilliman flesh, it's called.
Yeah, the brown one.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Or that one. That one will work really well. And then since it's dug into their flesh, you can use sort of like a, I don't know, like a dark red, maybe like Blood Angels one, like to get into where it's like dug into their flesh a little bit.
Oh, if you want to show like a little bit of like herdiness, like
herdiness,
yeah. Yeah, that would actually be cool.
That would be my suggestion. If you wanted to use contrast paints, you could also use inks and stuff like that as well too. Just similar colors to that if you needed to look up colors. I'm trying to get better at like remembering the names of all of the Games Workshop paints. I stare at them all the time. I could tell you where it is on a rack. I just wouldn't really know the name of it. Yeah.
You know, the one on the rack, that's
like it's on the left side. It's sort of down in the middle. I like contrast paints a lot, using them in different applications. I like airbrushing them a lot, but they do lend themselves very well to just quick weathering in a way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what's funny is I was like kind of organizing some stuff before I went, and last Monday after we had a Sigmar stream, and then I went home and I kind of like got my paints and gathered everything up, and I weirdly took Pterodon turquoise contrast out, which is what I use to weather my tint the armor of my daughters to like be kind of verdigris-ishy.
Yeah.
But I don't know why. I like, took it out and put it with the rest of the contrast paints and then didn't have it yesterday. And I was like, well, I could just wait till I go in tomorrow and do it, which wouldn't have happened because I spent 8 hours assembling through Krondspine. Or I was like, I could be impatient since I want to finish these at home here today.
Yeah.
And I used like the turquoise AK ink.
Yeah.
And I weirdly had the contrast medium.
Okay.
And it like looked exactly the same. It was like ever so slightly less green and a little more blue.
Yeah. But, I mean, you'll get color differences.
It's like very subtle. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, that would be my suggestion with rope. Paint them like an ivory color if you want them to be more golden. I love skeleton bone.
Skeleton horde.
Skeleton horde. Sorry, skeleton horde contrast paint. I like to use it on bone, actually, if you wanted to get it like this, like sort of golden, almost like toasted marshmallow.
Yeah, that's like a good word for it.
That's essentially what it looks like. If you put it over ivory, it looks sort of like a toasted marshmallow.
Like it'll make the bone not look bleached out from like the sun.
Yeah.
Like it's from like an environment, not like a deserty environment, but like you found in the woods or the jungle or something like that. Yeah.
And because it's contrast paint and it's all thin and super transparent, it builds up really nicely as well too. So you can start off very subtly, paint that on, and then let it dry. And if you want more, you can always add more in like little touches here and there to make the rope look different, right? Yeah. If you wanted to get really into it where the rope like twists in on itself and touches itself, that's where most of the gunk and whatever will gather and kind of build up. And so then you can start painting really thin lines of skeleton horde. Depends on how detailed you want to get with it.
Yeah, but
I think the gargants are really cool looking.
They're super cool.
Yeah, I know that it's an army, so you want to.
But there's only a few of them. It is an army that you could like basically make like 4 showpieces.
Yeah, so I like contrast paints. I don't like using them in the way that like they were almost designed to be used.
Well, yeah, there's this way they show them being used where they're like
just like slapped on.
Yeah,
almost.
over top of like I don't. I don't know. In my mind, I couldn't define it, but this is the same with a wash. In my mind, there's like a square footage, which would be like more like millimeters or inches. That if like something is more than that, I'm not going anywhere near it with like a contrast, like unless it's like underneath of an airbrush layer or something. You know what I mean? Like if it's like an armor plating, I'm not putting contrast on this, right? Like unless it's like a small piece.
You gotta like airbrush that on. It gathers in a weird way, but I like using it to like get some details and stuff. It airbrushes like a dream, though. I like it a lot. You can hear that. You can hear it spit, and I'm a little upset.
Is it from the front or is it from the back here?
It's from the front. Yeah. You can hear that? Yeah. Anyway, I'll try and be as careful with this super light blue as I possibly can.
What I'm doing, guys, here is I'm actually toning down the glow a little bit, and I'm kind of going in with the Sotar and Ubshanti bone. I've done all my colors. You could do the zoom here, Kat, or at least let's see how the shoulder looks. A little bit. Okay, so I've done all of the fiery colors, and I'm sort of just bringing the bone back a little bit here on some of the vertebrae here, where it's been maybe covered a little bit more than I would like it to be. I want you to be able to like see the bones floating among the swirls. And I think, my guess is that's kind of why, like, on the box art, GW didn't do a lot of glow. But I do want some glow. So, but I got a little too much. And so I'm just kind of bringing some back a little bit. Oh, let me move up here a little bit. Okay, just bringing some back a little bit here. Nice and easy.
Yeah, no, they're looking real cool now.
Yeah, it's a funky model, right? I love it.
Liberty Fires, Kat and Zach. And then Liberty Fires again. Zach, I wasn't able to donate Monday. I owed you one shout out.
You owed me a shout out. Why? That's really nice. Thank you so much, of course, as always.
No, it makes me feel warm and tingly.
Yeah. We had a wild Sigmar game on Monday, actually, where, I don't know, that was a crazy Sigmar game. Bridger had 5 Magna Drops, giant kind of reptile lava lizard guys, and I had 5 Stonehorns, and that was it, and that was the battle.
Wow.
And it looked very grim for Bridger, like turn 1 and 2, and then he totally tabled me, turn 3 and 4, and took the victory. It was crazy. I don't know. It's kind of the type of thing I like about Sigmar, that you can just have these like giant monster battles. I do think that Kat's probably a little cleaner with her airbrush than me, but I do think going in with the Sotar and like bringing the bone back out amongst cleaning up some of the overspray was big, because you can really kind of see like the I don't know how cool the model is. Like sometimes we forget about that, right? We're like, oh, I'm going to be super cool at painting this. Oh, I'm going to do such a cool job painting. It's like, hey, the model is super cool. Like if you kind of just like follow,
let it do what it's
let it do its thing. It's going to look amazing, right? So having the vertebrae like pop out and not be totally covered, I think, good move here.
Yeah, I'm trying to be careful.
If you want the Sotar, how's it coming out?
I'm having some difficulty with
AK Snow White, just in general. Try Sticky. You want to try Sticky Boy?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah,
I'm going to pass you Sticky Boy. You pass me that guy.
Okay. Let me clean it out for you really quick.
I'll clean it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Oh, wait. You're going to need this guy.
Yeah.
There we go. We're also like, we need one more coupler. They always come with, you good? They always come with the rest of it, and I don't need the rest of it, although I guess, what can I do, you know?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, there's like a little clog or something in the
something's not tight enough is
Yeah.
actually what it weirdly kind of feels like. That I feel like that sputtering is usually like something Or, yeah, some kind of, like, air is getting in somewhere weird. Or coming out somewhere weird. You guys ever had that weird, like, machine gun-y sound? But we could also feel free to add, you know how I am a monster with how I thin my paints. Feel free to, if you want to, put a bunch of thinner in there. The Sotar is also here.
Yeah.
You keep offering Kat all these different airbrushes. I use the Sotar. I gave in first, so you can have your pride, Kat, knowing that you held out longer. Thank you, Liberty Fires, as always.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I'm very excited. This upcoming Monday. Very excited this upcoming Monday because these two guys will be on the battlefield. I actually think I'm going to use yours, Kat. I think Adrian's going to use mine with his Cruel Boys, Orcs, and I'm going to be playing Stormcast Eternals and using the Icy guy. Yeah.
That's awesome.
And we're just going to like throw them at each other, I guess, and see what happens. No, that would actually be not fun. They would just sit in the middle of the battlefield all game doing nothing. I'm going to try to have mine eat a bunch of orc monsters. He's going to try to have his kill a dragon. It'll be fun.
Yeah. I don't know. These guys are really cool. And it's really cool that like any...
Is that bubbling? What is going on with my airbrushes?
Oh, I put some water in it, but yeah, it is bubbling 100%. I just feel like I'm just having like some bad luck here.
Well, you know what?
It's also the snow blue is like super thick, and I tried to thin it out.
I also will say a certain model took 8 hours to assemble, and I do typically do a pretty thorough and heavy airbrush cleaning on stream days, and I did not do that today.
Oh, okay. So there might just be.
And I did airbrush a ton yesterday, but yeah, I don't know. Yeah, that one, I think I need, so I need to probably get a new tip for my Sotar.
Yeah, I will, since you're going to be using this guy, I will try to make it look as cool as possible, though.
Oh, you're going to have it look bad if it was Adrian?
No.
Hey, look, he wasn't here.
Yeah,
it's fine. He can have the garbage
He's leaving us
He can have the garbage crown spine.
Yeah. Yeah, he's going to Europe, so like, you know.
Yeah. Send him off with a proper humiliation of using the bad looking Krondspine.
No, I don't think any of them were bad. I'm trying. I had some like overspray and stuff, and I'm trying to clean it up as much as I possibly can.
Well, yeah, and I think that is honestly like what made me be like, all right, I'm using a Sotar.
Right. Yeah. All right. Enku.
Thank you, Enku.
Yeah. Hey, Hobby Titans. Looking to pick up my first night with the upcoming releases. Any tips for painting one? I do have an airbrush.
Ooh, you should take this one. Have I painted it a night? I don't think I've painted it a night, but you have.
I have, and it was for an event that you ran.
Yeah.
Well, my number one thing is it will take a lot longer than you think it will, so don't wait until the last minute to do it. No, sub-assembly.
Yeah.
Yeah, sub-assembly. The way that the night goes together, I don't know about the new ones, at least, but with the old ones, and I don't imagine why they would change it in any way. With the new ones, they go together very similarly to how a Gunpla kit goes together. You build the inner chassis, and then the armor pieces go on top of it. So you can fully build the inner chassis, and that's what they have you do first. But leave all the armor pieces off. Airbrush paint the inner chassis first. And then kind of know and understand that like a lot of the like chassis you're not going to see. So like you don't have to get like super picky or whatever with it. You don't have to paint it up to like an amazing point. Just get that metallic color for the underside in there. And then, airbrush paint all of the armor pieces to a point where you're pretty satisfied with them, and then glue them on, and then weather, and do any like little extra things that you want to do to it. Because a lot of what you find is if you spend too much time painting it without the armor pieces on and doing a whole lot to the armor pieces and doing a whole lot to the underside of it, is when you put the armor pieces on,
you're like, oh no,
it covers up a lot of it. Yeah. And so, just paint the armor pieces separately, but then you want to weather when everything is on it, so that way everything looks like it makes sense in a way. So yeah, that'd be my thing. If you're gonna do any decals or whatever, put that on after you're done with like putting it all together and stuff. You just want to make sure that everything lines up, because when you're sub-assembling something that large and it has all these like different like shoulder plates or armor plates and stuff like that, it's hard to know like the orientation of like how that actually sits on the model. Maybe you put it on like super straight, but it actually like sits on the model like kind of crooked a little bit. So yeah, just paint all your basic coats and everything like that, put it all together, and then pick out any little details and stuff. And because they're such huge models, and they have all these little tiny like knickknacks and whatever on them, you can do a lot, and you can make it look like you're doing a lot when you're really only picking out like a couple bolts here and there and stuff, and just paint things different colors. But yeah, no, it's good that you have an airbrush, because honestly, I would not paint one without one.
Yeah, it kind of sucks to say, but like, if ever there's a reason to get an airbrush, something like this is a good reason.
Yeah, terrain, any large thing, you can 100% paint it without one. It just makes it so much easier and faster to do it with one, at least when you're like trying to put down your like basic colors and stuff. So,
how's the Sotar doing?
Yeah, it's bubbling.
Okay, hand me a Sotar. There you go. This one is perfectly good now. All clean. There's that guy back.
Yeah.
Do you want anything? You can toss thinner in that snow blue. Do you want to?
No, I'm done with it.
Oh.
Done with it. Sub-assembly. Because I like the way those kits go together. Really, really, really nice. Very similar to a Gundam kit. You assemble like the skeleton of it, and then you do everything else. So, yeah. But that's awesome. I think they look really cool, and honestly, I kind of want to pick one up just to paint one. I like the...
You see the new Chaos ones coming out?
Yeah, the little one with like the...
War dog or whatever.
Yeah, the skeleton face. I think those look really cool.
Yeah.
And I like vehicles, and I kind of want to do another vehicle soon.
Yeah, I'll let you catch up. I can read this one. Thank you again, Rudy. Thanks, Hobby Titans. Currently working on number 51 out of 60 40K ruins, texturing pink foam and painting 3D MDF terrain made by the community. Other than large rocks, hoodoo, and ruins, any ideas how to diversify terrain for tournaments? Well, I'm super glad you brought up hoodoos, because they're amazing, of course, for this. Large rocks, hoodoos, and ruins. Well, forest, right? Forest is good. So here's what I'll say. Typically for a tournament, you want one of the pieces, or two pieces, since you want things symmetrical, to be, like for 40K, you want things to be dense. Now for 40K, that means giving like -1 people shooting through it, is what like a forest does. And then if people are playing Sigmar, forests are critical because they block line of sight. And they're really the only big piece that does that. So you're mostly doing 40K. It's like prepping for 40K, and there are way more 40K RTTs and such than there are Sigmar ones, so that makes sense. But I would pick up forests for sure, or make forests. Forests are interesting. I don't know. If I was making a ton of stuff out of pink foam and I had a budget, I might burn my budget on like the new the like Wildwood kit. Like that might be where I burn my budget. Like on the trees.
And it's unfortunate because they don't make this box set anymore, but there is a Warcry terrain box set called the Soldiering Forest, which gave you 2 full Wildwood kits and then like the little ruin scatters and stuff.
Oh wow. I don't think I even knew about that.
But they don't make that box set anymore, so now you gotta buy your Wildwoods
individually.
Separately. Yeah.
Now, there is another way to do this though. If you're 3D printing, the very first Hobby Time stream ever is go back all the way back to the beginning, and it was Adrian and I, and it's called Trees, Kings of the Forest, which was a very stupid, silly title. I thought I was being funny. And in that, we paint a few different types of trees. And one of them you'll see is like this 3D printed one that we do. Oh, we only do that one. We only do the 3D printed tree, now that I think about it. We just painted a few different ways. So I would say look at that. And in that link, for that show, there's a link to where we printed that tree out. Brett printed those out for us.
Oh, the file, yeah.
Yeah, and they're amazing. And you can still kind of do that thing where you get, like, one of the things I like about the new GW kit for gameplay is that it has these like borders that like the where the roots are, right? It's like almost like those crescent shapes.
It makes like a little circle. It makes a circle,
yeah. And it's cool because you can do like one of 3. You can buy, if you buy like 4 boxes, then you can do like 4, or you can do like 4 big forests, or you can do 4 medium-sized forests. But these ones kind of do that too. They have like long enough roots that you can like hook them together. And so, Rudy, what I would do, if you want to save money, you don't want to get the GW kit, what I would do is this. I would get, and you're 3D printing, I would find a good forest that has roots that kind of go out and can make that border for you. Here, Kat, can we do top down for a quick second on me? So like, here's your tree. Here, let's do just like top hobbyist. Yeah, there we go. Or that one.
There we go.
Okay, so like here's like the tree, however you want to do and it has like roots that come out like this. This is sort of the one we got would do this. And then you put like another one here, and like now there's your forest. But like you can kind of see, and then like here's your last one, and it goes like that. But you're like, oh, I can't quite see like this area in here. So then what you do in that area is you get yourself, our favorite, some moss, and you put moss down here like this. And you'll actually notice that we do that a lot on Titans. If you check top down, depending on the type of tree we have, we'll often, if they don't like fully connect, or if connecting them makes the forest too small, we'll put little pieces of moss to kind of define the border. We especially do this in our Sigmar games. So for me, I would say trees, right? Like you do terrain for tournaments and stuff. Like you gotta have forests, right?
Yeah.
So something like
it's
that, yeah.
something that blocks line of sight. That's really what it is, right? So whether or not it be forest or like, usually the way that I do it is 2 big things.
Yes.
4 to 6 medium things, and then a bunch of scatter.
Yep, that's pretty good. Yeah, that honestly, like that's good if you're not already doing that, Rudy. Like thinking about how much stuff you want on each table is kind of a big deal, I think. So I would definitely agree with Kat on that. And okay.
Yeah. Now what those things are is really up to you. It's just you want to make sure that you have 2 large things. You want, essentially the table to be symmetrical, but like not look completely symmetrical, right? So you want two big things, one for each side of the table. And why I'm only doing like even amounts of everything. You don't want like one table or one side of the table to have a much higher tactical advantage than the other.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So planning that out, and then I would say trees. Now the other thing is anything that is like one of my favorite, and I know I'm like tossing out like, hey, how about some really expensive options? I know I'm tossing out kind of expensive options, but another one of my favorite GW kits is the Sector Mechanicus stuff, because on one hand, it's a little ill-defined, like what it does. We're currently using it on Tabletop Titans. It's on my Martian board. But on the other hand, because it's somewhat ill-defined, I often like that. Kat and I were talking about this last week, because when something's sort of like ill-defined, like, oh, is this a ruin? It doesn't quite seem to be a ruin, or you can kind of then make your own rules up for it. So for me, I would say that's a good kit to look at. And look, the Sector Mechanicus stuff is cool also because it is very unique, and I think you could build it with like plastic art and pink foam. You could make something kind of similar, but I don't know. I kind of feel like it's unique enough that it's a little bit hard to replicate. And typically people count it as dense terrain. So like if you don't want forest for the look of a board, because it's like in an urban area or like some radiated area where there wouldn't be trees or something like that, if you don't want forest, then you can use a few of these pieces. So the Sector Mechanicus is like, I don't know, that's one of my favorite kits.
Yeah. As far as like non-kit stuff goes, I've used like cans. I've used like if you're trying to scrounge together like some recycled bits or something like that. The styrofoam like inserts of electronic packaging, because it has all these like weird like divots and stuff like that or whatever, just to like hold things very specifically in that packaging.
Yeah,
that's fantastic to keep around if you're doing a bunch of terrain, because you can cut it. It looks like these cool little sci-fi buildings.
Yeah.
And then all you have to do is just paint it up, and that's it, right? And depending on what it is, right? If it's for like a TV or computer or something, that's your big thing. Right? Maybe that's your super big thing, and like cut it in half at that point then. But,
well, and also worth pointing out, right? Well, actually here, we'll show this. We won't tell anybody what this is. But one of the cool things with pink foam is that you can like cut shapes, right? And then stick it to things. So here's something Kat and I made that looks, it's a can. So Kat, can we let's get a view on it. It's a little weird thing we're working on here.
Yeah.
Okay, so with pink foam, now we use the table cutter. We were able to kind of like attach these to this, so you can kind of get mileage out of like, found items, but by attaching pink foam to it, you could cut close enough. You could cut, and then to like get the beveling, all we did is take a can and wrapped sandpaper around it, and then just took these and like sanded them down a little bit, and then that was it. So like the pink foam cutter, like we think of using it as something that we think of it as something that like you're making solid objects out of, but you can actually just also make like little things and stick it on existing ruins or existing like anything, right? I
mean one thing that like we were doing is making terrain out of stuff, and it's like, okay, well, how do we take this super flat surface and make it look
more interesting
and futuristic or whatever. We just cut out a bunch of these strips and then like glued them onto the side of something, and then okay, whatever we paint this, some of them can have a glow, some of them can't. You can just take like a cardboard box, like a drink can box or something like that, cut some holes in it, and or preferably add some structure to it, because it's going to be super floppy. But just like add shapes onto it that break up what you see as a cardboard box or a drink can box, but you know, and then once you put paint over it, it's something else entirely.
Yeah, that's so cool that they're doing that Rudy's doing terrain for
a tournament. Yeah.
Well, just for a store, right? Like.
Yeah. So.
Both, really, right?
Just in general, yeah. Yeah. So yeah, like we had a customer who did a bunch of like upcycling, and one of his favorite things were like Pringle cans or I don't know, like oatmeal cans and stuff, and then he would just take like this little plastic knob thing off of something else, you know, glue it onto that, and then, you know, take some dials or something that sort of looked like dials, and then glue it onto that, and then essentially you're just breaking up the silhouette. There you go. You're breaking up the silhouette of this can, and you're turning it into something else, because then once you put paint over it and once you prime it, it looks like something else entirely. And then depending on how you paint it, you know, you can get what you want out of it.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. I've really stepped away a lot from like found object terrain. But it's not necessarily a move I'm like excited to be stepping away from.
It takes a lot more, like, it's hard because then you just have a bunch of trash around you that you're like, I don't know what to do with this.
Yep.
So yeah, there's that. But like, if you already have something that you're like, okay, I'm gonna definitely make something out of this, then it becomes a little bit easier of like, okay, as you know, go around, you're like, well, this little like, if you have kids, they have these like little, almost like applesauce pouches.
Oh yeah, and they all have those lids.
They have these like weird looking like lids on them. Those are like really cool, like knobs.
Everybody loves those for terrain. I know, like they use it both in our local area in our club. Our friend Andrew, who paint the Night Lords, made a set that used those. Colin Ward, who is a big painter on Instagram, Legalized Mischief. He didn't make it, but actually it was funny. He had kids, and he was like, he saw Andrew's terrain. He was like, oh, I know what that's from. Like everybody knows. I had no idea what they were from. I have kids, and I don't eat applesauce pouches.
Yeah.
Actually, I don't know the last time I even had applesauce.
Yeah, I don't know if they're applesauce or whatever. There's some sort of like fruit pouch thing or whatever. I used to be a nanny, and so that's really the only reason why I know that. Yeah. But
she's got like 10 of them in her backpack.
they're delicious.
They're good. I mean, look, food is food.
Yeah. So yeah, that's those are anything that has like a cool shape to it, honestly, and then you just add to it until you no longer recognize it for what it used to be, because once you put paint over that, really you can interpret it the way that you want it to. And what I also think is really cool is even if you can still tell what it used to be, you know, then yeah, I think there's this guy on YouTube, it's like Studson or something like that or whatever. He does a lot of like found trash scrap builds and stuff, and I think they're really cool. So you can get a lot of ideas from that, but it's also a thing where like he breaks apart perfectly good Gundam kits to use them in things, but you know, the things that he ends up making are pretty sick. So, you know, I'm not gonna fault him for that too much, at least. But yeah, if you want to do stuff like that, I would highly suggest, instead of you trying to scrounge all this trash together, is like start like a little collection bin at the store, or be like, you know, hey, like, can I get all your recycling and make a bunch of stuff out of their cans and stuff, and then, you know, whatever. But the thing with that is that then you're done potentially touching things that people have put near or on their mouths. So yeah. There's a lot of really cool things that you can do for terrain for not a whole lot of money. It's just the less money you spend, the more creative you have to be. So that's my thing, right? And eventually you start to kind of, your brain just wants to melt and be like, I don't want to put these shapes together anymore.
There's oftentimes also like the other issues, like, because found like doing stuff with like the applesauce lid and all that stuff, like it's cool. What I kind of tended to find over time is that compared to how working with a terrain kit, whether it's GW, I've done some of the Cromlech stuff. Honestly, even MDF. Well, like you're often putting in like a few extra steps, and oftentimes there's also like these like weird little pitfalls. Like, oh, turns out paint stuff doesn't stick to this type of plastic that well.
You gotta sand it first, stuff like that. Yeah. You're definitely coming across more of a, I guess, a barrier to something like that than you would normally, like with a paint kit and stuff. So, yeah. I guess my suggestion would be to pick up like a tub of like Woodland Scenics flocking or moss or whatever. That adds a lot. You can always just paint like a line of like thinned out PVA glue on something and just put that shaker on it, and you got like this super cool mossy building or whatever. So yeah.
How's he coming out?
I think I fixed it a little bit.
Yeah.
I think I fixed it a little bit. I think it's looking pretty good. Yeah.
Well, I'll show you what I did with a brush.
Okay.
So I took my bone color, Shanti Bone, got it nice and, did kind of like an intense dry brush on it. Because I'm using air paint, which isn't super awesome for dry brushing, but I really made sure I got a lot of it off. And then I just went whoop, whoop, right down the ridges here. Okay. So I did that. So you would just use Typhon Ash.
Okay.
You can, help yourself to anything back there.
Sweet.
Yeah. Ooh, maybe that'll even have, I don't know, blue still in it. We'll see. That'll be interesting. Then what I did is I took my wash color, Seraphim Sepia for me, Agrax for you, and I just, on his face especially, like he has like a little trident, almost like symbol.
Yeah.
I picked that out in the recesses. I also put like, I've been really into, I've been doing this with my daughters, I've been really into right around edges. Like I took the Seraphim Sepia and just defined like borders a little bit, like define a little bit around here. I went into around the teeth. You guys can see here. I just put a little bit of shading like around his teeth with this stuff. And then I kind of looked on the rest of them to see if there are any big obvious, like anywhere where there's like, I don't know, like the bone just looked too flat. But there weren't a lot of spots because it's very broken up.
Yeah.
So there's a few places, but that's pretty much it. So I just did a little bit of dry brushing and a little bit of
washing.
Washing, yeah. I didn't actually dry brush my vertebrae.
Yeah, it's just I'm trying to get like a good texture buildup on this brush, and like.
Oh, I see.
I feel like because we're using airbrush paints to dry brush with, I'm not getting a whole lot of like color on it. So I'm just trying not to put too much.
I'll give you that guy in case. I had luck with that on the horn. Yeah. Cool. I'm gonna varnish my dude. Now I'm a little bummed that I didn't get to do the bases. I'll tell you guys what I have planned for the bases. Adrian and I have been chatting about it. The thing is that's super cool about what's going on with the Krondspine Incarnate. As mentioned, if you are Sigmar players, that any army can use these guys. So we have 2 of them now, and I was like, there's a couple thoughts. I could magnetize it and make like a base that matches each army. That sounds sort of like a lot of work. Most of our destruction stuff, it has a theme on its base, which you can see on my Beast Claw Raiders, and it's kind of like snowy. And we were thinking, okay, well, we'll do the blue guy that way, and we'll do this guy some, like, Adrian has a lot of kind of like mud bases, we'll just do that. That'll work. Like, that'll be close enough. We can grab one or the other.
Right.
But then Adrian tossed out the idea. He was like, well, what if you just like make a thematic base for each? And you're just like, screw it. It's not going to match the rest of the army. It's just going to be thematic. And ultimately, this is what I was into. So that's the plan. I had hoped to maybe do these today, but there are 2 reasons I'm glad. 2 reasons that didn't happen.
Okay.
One, I don't know if I brought this up to you guys yet or not, but this model was not the best time putting together. I did not have the best time putting this model together.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And I had to put 2 of them together. I don't know if I also mentioned this, guys. I had to pin. I haven't had to pin, again, I think this is the 3rd time I've pinned in like 12 years. I was like doing it, nuts. I was like, am I gonna have to do this? I even messaged you. I was like, hey, do you have stuff for pinning?
And then I didn't answer you, and my excuse was I was in a meeting. I totally was actually in a meeting.
Okay, I believe. Yeah. Okay, thanks. I thought you were gonna be. I totally looked at it and was like, no thanks, not answering that one.
Yeah.
No, and then I was like, oh wait, I think I have stuff for pinning. The wire is a little thicker than you might normally use, but it worked fine.
Yeah.
Anyway, the other reason though is because if you guys look, I mean, like these kind of spindly models that like spiral up from the top, I was like, you know what? I think I just have to plastic glue this thing to the base. Like I don't want to have this thing super glued on top of like rough textured.
Right, like, where it's a little bit like...
Yeah, I want this thing stuck here like forever. It needs all the support it can get. So that's okay. I've had some experience recently with the Fire Slayers army working around models that have been glued. Our friend Pod, friend of the show Pod, who gave us the Fire Slayers army, had glued them to the base. And when I got him, I was like, oh, that's interesting. I haven't worked.
I'll just,
But I was like, all right, I'm going to figure out a way to work around it. Because they were plastic glued, right? Because I like make all my bases and then like paint my army and like attach as needed, you know?
Yeah.
And when my models break, like when they fall off the table, the only thing that typically ever happens is they can just go boop right off the base.
The model breaks off the base.
Yeah. And I'm like, cool, that's like a great break, right? Like, so these guys are glued to the bases. Pick that one up from Pod. Thanks, Pod. And you know what? It's a lot of support, and I think this model needs it. So
yeah, I mean, I've seen like some people who glue their models to their bases and then base around them, and it just slap glue on the base and then dip it into like some like texture or something. So it's doable. You don't get like any cool like elevation from it, but
this guy's pretty elevated though, right?
Yeah, I'd rather have the support than like have like an amazingly cool base or something. So
well, yeah. Also, these guys like come up from the magic, like they're just like magic, just like gathers a bunch of bones and crap up and just like turns into a swirly tornado. That's basically what they are. So it's like that's okay. Like if the like textured AK stuff I'm probably gonna put on here, like kind of goes over a little bit and it looks like he's like coming up out of the ground.
Yeah.
That's only adds to the look, I think.
Yeah.
So I'm into it.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you, Kertuffles. Hello. I'm wanting to convert some vehicles for a deep sea Innsmouth theme, GSC.
Gene Stealer Caw, yeah.
Any tips on turning some trucks into boats? Tips on water effects?
You want to chat water effects and trucks into boats if you know any?
Conversions a little bit. My thing is take the wheels off.
Yeah. Well, what if he wants an amphibious look?
I don't know. My thing would be to cut them almost like in half, sort of, and so. And then put them on a base or something like that, and then sort of make some sort of like flotation-ish, right? Are they floating with like water barrels or something like that, or like pontoons or buoys or whatever? How are they floating? How are they like boats, right? How are they navigating this water? Is essentially my question. And so you could almost just cut them in half that way and then submerge them down, have the floating devices around them, and then have the water effects around that. That could be one thing, or one way that you can turn a truck into a boat. You can like completely disassemble it in a way where like maybe you just have I don't know, like I guess my like difficulty with this question is like I don't know what the trucks look like. So
we'll pull some up.
Yeah.
They're like big work trucks. They're like
pickup trucks or?
Sort of, but almost more like dump trucks.
Oh, okay.
It's like it's like miners. It's like a miners. Gene Stealer cults have like this upriser theme of like miners, like workers and
right.
yeah,
right.
And so it's kind of like a mining truck, like a work utility type truck.
Okay.
Pretty big. Bigger than a pickup truck.
Yeah, my thing would be
they also have ones that are like pickup truck size.
Okay. Yeah, my thing would be to like make sure you take the wheels off because that's like the one thing that's like that's a truck because it's got wheels. It goes on the ground, right?
Yeah, I will just say I recant my amphibious approach because I just don't think it plays right. Like when you see both, it's like what? You know what I mean? Like if
it almost looks sort of like a Jeep-ish. It just kind of looks like you just drove your car into the water, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. So after seeing some pictures of them, take the wheels off. Change the front of them. Change the front to sort of look like a kind of U boat shape or whatever, like it's like cutting through the water in a way. You can try and do that with some of the like machine equipment that they have on some of them.
You could do you could make the bulldozer stuff into that probably.
Yeah, that'd be a thing. But like my thing with selling something that is a land vehicle and making it be like, okay, no, this is like a water vehicle, is how is it floating? And that's something that you definitely want to keep in mind. Other than that, you can just kind of get as creative as you want to be, right? Make sure that, you're not putting like dust effects on it when you're painting it, and that you're going to weather it out like you would a boat. Because a lot of kit bashing and stuff is, I want to say, a lot of it is how you paint it, right? Because similar to the terrain and stuff from before, is when you prime it all black, it looks like one thing, and then you can really sell your story with how you paint these different aspects of it. So that's my thing. Water effects on bases is a little bit difficult because you're working with, sometimes like a small area. Mm-hmm. I really like the water gels from AK Interactive. I know that Ammo makes some, and I think Vallejo makes some water gels as well too. So I would definitely pick up some water gels.
What was this user's name, Kat? Who was this?
This is Kirk
Tuffles. If you're in our Discord, send me a message. I am plotting one of the upcoming projects we have here at the studio that one of the armies will be painting. Are going to be painted in the classic nautical theme I always suggest. And I actually dug kind of deep on the internet and how to have them in bases that I want them to look like they're like standing in a foot of water.
Okay.
Without like cutting their legs off. So actually have the water be clear. And I found a guide of a guy who did it, and he made like little wraparounds for all of his things and poured the resin in and everything. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to send you that guide. I haven't done it yet.
Okay.
It looks good. His results are good.
Okay.
It's a lot of work.
Yep.
I'm going to do it for an army that's coming out here, but that army doesn't have too many models. But like, I'll send you the guide. So send me an in Discord.
Yeah. Hopefully that works out for you. My thing with poured resin.
Oh, I don't know that he used. I think he used one of these products you're talking about.
So the gel.
I think so. I can look. I don't think he uses. Yeah, I don't like the resin either.
That would take like forever and a half to like harden if you used a gel. But my thing with like 2-part resin is one, it wants to leak. 2, some of them heat up really, 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 really hot. If you're putting plastic in it, especially painted plastic, that kind of sometimes affects it a little bit. So definitely, if you're going to do 2-part resin, get one that has a much longer cure time at a lower temperature. Other thing is that sometimes you get that like creep where it will not be even, and so when you have your like little guide for it, it will sort of form like a little U lip, and it will try and creep up that, and it will also try and creep up your model as well too. If you're not careful about the humidity that it's curing in, the temperature that it's curing in. If you have a pressurized chamber, I would 100% use that.
Yeah, if you just casually have a pressurized chamber.
If you have it, not everyone's gonna have it. I think less people would have that than, you know, the pink foam cutter that we like to talk about all the time. But yeah, be very careful when it comes to two-part resin when you're doing stuff like that. Now, since you're only pouring like a little bit, it's not gonna be so bad. But
he does use resin. He uses the AK resin water.
Yeah, that is a two-part resin. Yeah. Then it's really good quality resin water, and it cures at a very low temperature, so it's great. My thing is that it's really hard to get the air bubbles out. You know, it's just stuff like that. There's so many things that can go wrong with it. Preferably, I would just cut your models to make it, you know, look like they're already in the water.
Yeah, one thing you can do, sorry, I was looking this up. If you said this, I apologize. One thing, like, carefully, you pour it slowly, right, onto a side and have it, like, go down. Yeah. But then the other thing is you take, like, a little stick, and you can kind of, like, push not something pointy, but, like, you can push the bubbles, like, areas where, and it just depends what's down there, right? Like, when I've done resin before, whenever there's like lots of little crypts. Oh, you want to hear the other step?
Yes.
So you can use what's left here of Reichland Fleshshade Gloss, or you can use more from this stupid bottle.
Okay.
And gloss the horns. Oh wait, we didn't varnish your guy yet.
No.
Is he ready for varnish?
Yes.
Okay.
I think so. Right.
Do you want to do the honors or should I?
You can do it.
Okay. Yeah, when I've done resin in the past, I found that wherever there's like more texture, right? If it's just kind of flat, like if you're just pouring water, like it shouldn't get too many bubbles.
No.
Although I haven't worked with this stuff.
So I did Seth and I did a 3 foot by 3 foot like swamp table where I think we used like 8 boxes of the AK resin water.
The two-part stuff?
Yeah. It was a lot of fun. Honestly, I don't think we needed 8. I think maybe like 6 would have done it.
Sure, yeah, of course. That's like our thing.
Yeah, but like with resin, at least, you have to mix all of it at one time. And so like we ended up wasting a lot of resin.
Yeah,
but
it's annoying.
It wasn't too bad.
I do hate, honestly, I agree with you mostly because I hate working with resin.
Yeah,
two-part resin.
yeah, it's really cool. You can do a lot of really cool stuff with it, but yeah, it's scary. But yeah, the one thing that we did when we poured it, and you pour it really slow, but one thing that we did was just like for, I don't know, maybe a solid 5 minutes, we got like employees to come in and everything like that. And we just banged on the table that this board was on.
Bubbles come up.
And so it made all the bubbles come up to the surface. And then you take like a lighter, and then you can just super easily pop all the bubbles without having to like poke stuff.
You say a lighter?
Yeah, a lighter.
Oh, like little fire.
Yeah. You could take like a little like brulee torch and stuff as well too. We just went over to Safeway and bought like the little barbecue lighters.
Oh yeah.
And you run that over. The only thing with that, when you're doing that, is you want to make sure that you are doing it very quickly. Because if you let
it screw with that, right?
If you let it heat up too much, it makes like a film. Really, you're just passing
What does that look?
it over.
Is that cool? What does that look like?
When you cure the top part of your resin,
if you use the heat,
it vaporizes your resin, and because resin cures with heat,
I'd be curious to see what that
starts
looks like.
I don't know. I mean, you can try it. I think it'll mess up a resin.
Yeah. Oh,
pour,
sure.
But
I'm very curious. Listen, fan stuff.
Yeah.
Of course, there's fan stuff. Everybody. Oh my gosh. I know we waited kind of long to do fan stuff. We're almost done.
Yeah.
We just got to gloss some horns.
Yeah. So I think we could just do fan stuff.
Let's do some fan stuff. Yeah. Okay. Oh, we had terrain. This is awesome. I love when people take, this is the Sector Mechanicus stuff, by the way, with a little bit of the Necromunda stuff tossed in. I don't know about you, Cap, but I love the Sector Mechanic, these like bulky Sector Mechanicus pieces. I love when people turn them, because they actually come on their kits in half like this, and then you put them to get that two halves together, make like these round cylinders. But a lot of people just leave them flat and then build stuff on top of them.
Yeah.
And they actually have like these kind of flat areas to do that with. Super cool. I love the look of this thing.
No, I like it. I always love terrain. But no, I like the super rusted out platform and everything. I also like the yellow a lot. I think yellow and rust go really, really, really well together. So yeah, no, it's super awesome. But I just love really well done terrain.
Yeah.
I've said it before. I will say it as many times as I want.
Oh gosh, now I forget who this is. They're like a big supporter of the show. Anyway, oh my gosh, I totally forget who this was. No. There's like a few things that I'm like, oh, I'll remember the names of these people, and now I'm like immediately knowing I won't. It's just an awesome looking sword. Whoever this was, I cannot remember the fan, but they were like, yeah, this is like 8 hours in on this sword. I was like, oh my god, this is like, Cat's gonna be into this.
It looks amazing. I love it. I love it so much. I love it so much. It's so well done. Great job. Great job. I want to see another 8 hours on it.
Truly amazing. Broken Chef, cranking stuff out. Broken Chef is like just cranking stuff out. This is Death Guard character. Broken Chef, you had so many different options for me. This is what I went with because I felt like this was pretty crazy. Like there's a lot of little work going on in here. Like you went in and Orc Zac, that's right, Orc Zac. Yeah, Orc Zac, that was the sword, and yeah, Orc Zac, it looks amazing. Yeah, truly amazing. Yeah, Broken Chef, also amazing. Cranking stuff out. Yeah, you had like 40 pictures for me to pick from. This is what I went with. This was my favorite. It's
super cool.
Yeah.
I love it.
It's grim darky.
Yeah?
Okay. I should have gotten this picture like zoomed in a little bit more, but this
looks like a pumpkin.
Yeah,
almost. Yeah.
Yeah. This is so. I think this is. I mean, being used as an Ogren or a Bullgrin, I'm guessing, and this is like the Necromunda kit. I think the bottom. If anybody knows, let me know. Super cool. I thought this guy looked amazing. I'm kind of curious where this kit is from, what this is, but this looks amazing. I'm like so digging. I'm insisting, whether it's just in my head or not, I'm insisting that there is a wave that I'm totally into right now of 70s stuff slowly creeping into our society. And I'm like really into 70s styling, so I'm like all into it.
Yeah, no, I hope you don't take any offense to me saying that it looks like a pumpkin, because I love Halloween and everything like that. But it's really cool. It looks like a pumpkin in the best possible way. Yeah. So that's really cool. I love the basing as well too.
The basing's good, yeah. Yeah, a little like I just love this vibe of like this style of spacesuit, which is like very 70s-y. Cool, just a super clean, awesome looking Farseer.
Oh, I love the cloth.
Yeah.
I like the colors a lot, like the green and I want to say it's like a reddish purple.
Yeah.
Yeah, the maroon. Or not maroon, sorry, burgundy-ish, or magenta, like dark magenta, stuff like that.
This is a shade of green you got to be careful with. And somebody else is doing a Craft World army in this green, this like Kelly green, and it also looks amazing. And they also had stuff. I don't think I had one for fan stuff because they've been working on their bikes and they're posting their bikes, and we have had them on before. And I'm actually wondering if this is the same army because it's a similar color scheme in this green and purple. And again, if you told me like Kelly green and purple, I'd be like, man, I think
out of your mind.
I've seen a lot of bad looking armies those colors. But it turns out if you just paint well, it's good.
Yeah, it turns out if you're just good, yeah.
Okay, now look, I could not get this upright. I super apologies. But literally, this is funny because I had an older version of this while I was doing fan stuff, and then right while I was picking it, the person who made it uploaded their finished version. I was like, oh, perfect timing. It was like 4:45 p.m. today, Pacific time, so I like grabbed this. Could not get this picture to be upright. I tried resaving it, so I just have to do some research about how to make a flip a picture in OBS so that it doesn't flip the rest of the pictures.
Yeah.
In the screen thing.
It looks awesome. I mean, like when I got here and that was like on the screen, I immediately was like, oh my God, what is that?
Yeah.
So no, it's really cool. I love it. And I was like, is that pink foam? What is that?
Yeah.
How did you do the face?
Yeah,
That's really cool.
Now, of course, I've done this with, we're actually playing on this board currently this week on Tabletop Titans, the Martian board. And I'm pretty sure that they just got a mannequin head, styrofoam head that people store wigs on. This is how I made mine.
Oh, okay.
And sunk it into pink foam. That's what I did.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
I like that. I like that. That's awesome. Great job.
Now, you got to get the hand also. So, and then put it separately. The hand is cool. Like, it really makes it look scary.
I just want to see a foot. I think that would be hilarious.
This guy actually lives in my house because this is by Megan. This is her Chattakar, also known as Radakar. Chattakar, we call him, though, because he's a bro. Chattakar the Beast. Meg did an awesome job. I guess I won't say too much more about it.
No, he's awesome.
Great. Yeah.
Great job, Meg.
I wish you guys could see the eyes. The eyes look amazing. She did like red eyes with little tiny yellow pupils, or it might be the other way around, and I actually can't see from here. But super cool. She did a really good job on the armor, the lattice work. She posted this guy and Bella Donna. If you guys are in the Discord, check it out. The Belladonna came out really awesome too. I wasn't sure which one to pick, but went with this guy. Nice job, Meg. Oh, this is so cool. This guy I know, this is Xenodrake. He's a big fan of the show, and we've met him. Super cool. He did these like, I forget what he said the style was, but he did these like, there's a couple of them he did. I thought this one was the cool. He did like these like, I forget the style. I don't know. Do you know the name of this like style? Anyway,
no.
He did like this freehand style on his rhinos for his Sisters of Battle, of like these like, I don't know. That's it. That's what it looks like. It looks so cool.
That's really awesome. I didn't expect that to be freehand. I thought that was like a self-made decal or something. But that's really awesome.
Xenodrake, I don't know if he's here, but I think that's what it is. He just posts them. I don't think they're decals. But either way, they look amazing. It's super cool. I'm really into this, and I'm excited to see this army. Maybe I don't know if you're coming to BAO Xenodrake, but if you are with this army, I'm excited to see it in person.
That's really cool.
Yeah, super cool. Oh, okay, this is cool. This is just like, oh man, this is one of the best red glow effects I've seen. It's so good. They did Jolly Miniatures.
No, I love that. I love that it's like red on one side and blue on the other. Yeah, I like that a lot. And the base is very like, I don't know. I guess grimdark, right? But like, yeah. No, it's cool. I like it. I like how muted the rest of the paint job is. It makes the the fire and ice sort of thing.
Ooh, perfect theme for today's.
It stand out a lot more.
Wow, we had a real fire and ice week here at Titans, because Bridget and I had our fire and ice game, and now we have these fire and ice Krondspines. This guy. By the way, can we just talk about weirdly how awesome, I don't know what it is, but for whatever reason, I'm just like so into oval bases, guys. Can we talk about how like an oval base can like weirdly make an infantry model look like just a little more interesting? I don't know what it is. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just me.
Are infantry models normally on oval bases?
No.
Maybe that's why.
Yeah. I don't know. There's something about the oval base I'm like really into. Okay, super cool. So these guys, little Caradon Overlords, this is like their Warcry pack, I think. Super cool. This is a good example. I feel like he did them like, okay, we tell you guys all the time that our screen is a little too dark, but so these guys look very dark, and Kat hasn't previously seen these, so to her they probably look just super dark. But
they look very dark. Yes.
It's a really good example.
I'm gonna run over.
Yeah, it's a really good example of like, hey, I wanted to paint my army dark, but I still did like an insane amount of highlighting and like little extra.
Bronze.
Yeah, little bit of like extra work to like get them to look like not just dark. I don't know if that makes sense. Like, no, it looks like they're supposed to be dark.
What's that one video game that I was really having a hard time trying to remember with the Big Daddy and
oh, this sounds like maybe you're still having a hard time.
I'm sure chat will know, but no, that reminds me of that game. It's very dark, but Bioshock.
Okay.
There you go. That reminds me of that a lot.
And Carradon in general kind of have a Bioshock theme.
Yeah.
But these guys, super awesome. I love this. Oh, here we go. Just like an awesome green and gold. Aren't you the one who said you love green and gold together? Is that you?
Yes, I love green and gold together. It reminds me of a very lush spa.
Yeah, I'm very curious what kind of what this is being run as. If it's just like not a specific chapter, because. Which is cool, which is awesome, of course, but it's not like a color combination you see in Chaos Space Marines often, but I love it. Mm-hmm. And I love the stuff on the axe. Yeah, really nice. Good metallic, good green metallic. Oh, this thing's so good. Just really, this might be model of the week here. The paint job on this is so good.
More green and gold. I love it. I love it. I love the, like, I don't know if it's the lighting. I hope it's not the lighting, and I hope that it is painted on there. But just how, like, your eye is just completely drawn to the center of that model.
The, like, fat stomach plate.
It just, and the face and everything. Yeah. I hope that's painted on there. If that's painted on there, great job. That's fantastic.
This user, this fan, this member of Titan's community posted 2 pictures. And again, I can't remember actually now what the other model was, but again, looked crazy good, and had to pick between the 2 of them. This was like the first thing I opened up and saw today, and I was like, "Whoop, that's going in." Good start to fan stuff this week. Yeah, crazy good. Just like great technique all around. Love it. And also great technique. Is this? Yeah, Cicero. We post something of theirs like every week. Looks super cool. Love the weathering. Love the weathering, honestly, on yellow like this. Great yellow. Great, like, I don't know. Rust on yellow is a cool look.
Yeah.
Rust on yellow, white, or orange. Mm-hmm. Like a brown rust. Not like too orange over rust on orange, right?
Yeah.
I just love the look.
No, it's awesome. I also like how the green gun like sticks out really well too. Yeah, it's great. I like it.
Yellow's cool.
I like your chipping and everything. That's really cool. It's not too much, not too little. Right?
I almost like the single 2 or 3 big spots. I think that's how you do infantry. The green gun's interesting. Yellow's interesting in this way that you could almost have done that gun any glow color and it looked good. That's kind of what's compelling about yellow.
Yeah.
Like anything glows well. Oh, so here's like a chibi. Now, here's the thing. I think this person's name was Cold Cody. I'm pretty sure I'm getting that right. The Discord member. They posted a few chibis that they painted, and the other one that they painted, they had their name on it, and I was like, oh, I should use this. But then I saw this one, I was like, oh, this is it was just amazing. It was a good photo.
I like the hair, I like the eyes, I like
good.
The axe.
Yeah,
so
the hair is really good. The hair is really good.
I like the axe and I like the hair a lot.
Everything is amazing. I actually want to paint. We should paint some chibis on stream.
They'd be cute.
Yeah, we should do that soon because it looks really fun.
Yeah, and if any of you guys are, I guess it's just more shout out of friends and stuff, is if any of you guys are interested in learning how to paint like higher end chibi models, there is an Instagram page called Snicker Snack Studios, and Yeji pretty much predominantly just paints chibi models to a very, very, very high level. So I'd definitely check her out. But she's awesome, and chibis are like her favorite thing. So. But yeah, Snicker Snack Studios.
Snicker Snack Studios. Okay. Kat, how are you doing?
Good. I'm just fixing up some stuff. I forgot to paint these 2 things on the spine.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm like while I'm doing this, I'm just hit. Oh wait.
Oh.
There might be more.
Okay.
There might be like one more. That's okay. We'll go this way. Wait.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah,
there's one more.
Okay.
Soups. Yeah. Soups is doing this cherry blossom kind of themed Asuryani army, and again, Soups had a number of pictures, and Soups you had like the whole squad, but the pictures are just like it's interesting. Like these kind of squarish. The closer to a square a picture is, the better. in general it is for this OBS format. And I also just thought that this was like a nice close-up. But again, Soups has the rest of the army here. So
on Discord, yeah.
On Discord, and the rest of the unit, and check it out.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. I love it. It's cherry blossom season. And it's cute because it's very subtle. But you get these like cute little pops of like pink and, you know, yeah. I think it's pretty. It's pretty.
It is pretty. All right, I'm putting
more pretty you can add to this.
I'm putting Fire Guy on the glam cam.
Okay.
Are we almost ready to put Oh, I see what you said you missed.
Yeah, I missed those
too. I'm not going to worry about it. I might do it later.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, weirdly, that's hilarious that we both missed the exact same
spots.
The same spot.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like the only one that's like right on
the spine.
Kind of like up on. It's like in a weird spot that like I wasn't looking for them.
Yeah, same. And I was like, oh no.
I am bummed that I wasn't able to do the bases because as cool as these guys turned out, I think, I think the bases are gonna like add a lot to what's going on.
Okay.
Yours is gonna almost just be like entirely a giant heap of snow. I'm actually gonna try to make this almost look like a little bit of a diorama. I might put a tree honestly on yours, like the snow is so thick that like I'm gonna put like a tree down, and then like the snow is like 2/3 of the way up the tree almost, or like halfway up.
Oh, cute.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm almost.
Okay.
Almost.
Yeah, thanks everybody. The fan stuff this week was truly amazing. Yeah, if you guys, here's the other thing I will say. I don't need to like we GW sent us these Thondian strong points. Super awesome and grateful by the way for that. Thank you GW. I will say that the box itself. Yeah, see if you can go in on somebody who wants to train if you're a Sigmar player. Or even like get one of these and paint it up and like share it with your group for a while. Here's the kind of fun thing about these guys. So anyone can take them in your army. The other thing is if you actually, if you guys haven't checked out the Thondia book yet, if you play through the match play mission, they have like this match play campaign in the book, which is really compelling, where you make a single army and play 5 games. And they kind of made it and designed for like events. So like a 5-round event.
Yeah.
But one of the cool things is one of the people, like whoever is the defender, or you like row off and like whoever wins, I forget how it works in all the missions, one person can choose to put one of these in the middle of the board, and it's a wild form, so it's not on anyone's army.
Right.
And like you can control it. There's a way you can kind of like be the one who gets to control it. Totally interesting though. That's like if it's not in your army, you can like just have a neutral one, like an NPC, pretty much like monster that like fights both armies in the middle.
Oh, that's kind of that's fun.
I forget how it works if you have to get close to it or something. So, oh, here we go. Okay. We'll make them look like they're fighting. Oh wait, if we do that though, yeah, we'll do that. Okay. Oh yeah, you can really see like the different bone looks that came out with the warmer recipe versus the cooler recipe. Oh man, these guys are so cool. Kat, this is so fun to do with you. I'm so excited. You hopefully Kat can pop in to I'm putting her on the spot and gonna ask her to if she remembers and can pop into chat on Monday while we're playing. I'll be piloting yours. Hopefully they're both alive still. They're very hard to kill.
Yeah.
So
if you send me a reminder,
I'll try to send you a reminder.
Then yes, 100%. I will be like, I painted that.
It's so funny that we're just gonna be like 2 of these, just like on the battlefield, 1 for each army. I love how we do blue and red. It's like almost like a game piece, like a game board piece. Like I'm the blue guy. I want to be the red guy.
Yeah, very red versus blue, fire versus ice. Song of Ice and Fire.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
also,
these are really
also
cool.
Oops All Krondspines.
Yeah.
A little bit of Oops All Krondspines in here.
Okay, so since you said that you could have one just on the board that's sort of like neutral, could you technically have 3?
3? Do we need to get a third Krondspine? Like a green energy one?
I think a green one would be really cool. The Rayquaza Krondspine for anyone who knows Pokemon.
Bryce is pointing out, I want to do a warp green one for my Skaven. Yeah.
Yeah. I was like going all in of like, let's just have the Skittles of...
I know, dude. I want to see all colors of Krondspines fighting each other on the battlefield. And they're like so hard to kill, and they're not good at killing each other, so it would be like 5 turns of them just like punching each other, and then the game would be over. Amazing.
That'd be really cool. If you could have 3, I think a green one would be perfect, but we'd have to get another boss.
GW!
Hey guys! We're in the market.
Hey, if you guys want to see 3 Krondspine stream. Awesome. Okay. I think we did it.
I think we did.
Awesome. You have anything going on? Anything exciting? You're painting? How's the train board coming? Have you worked on it? Did I just put you on the spot?
No.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That's okay. That happens.
Yeah, I haven't actually. I think this is the first time I've sat down and painted. I haven't painted anything since our last stream. Mostly just because I've been super busy. But
and
I
allergies.
And my face was fighting me. But I did put together the little bone.
Oh, that's right. That's right. You said, and it was like surprisingly.
Yeah, it was surprisingly difficult, but I haven't had a chance to paint it. I had a wedding to go to this weekend, and then work came and was like, "Hey, we're here." Hey.
Hey, want to come to work with allergies?
And the answer is no, but I had to. So yeah,
it happens.
But yeah, hopefully I can get back into it.
Yeah, I did finish up a few daughters. I'll post some pictures, guys. So really excited to be working on that. Other than that, I think that's it. I think we're good. Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. Guys, as we like to say around here, be kind to yourself, be kind to each other, and always be creating. See you guys.